Ever been watching the ALGS or your favorite Apex Legends streamer and heard them saying things like,
Hacked one, gatekeep this team, that's gonna be Pierre the Rat,
and wonder, what are they talking about? We wanted to take a moment to shine a light on some of the most common terms you might be hearing and wondering about as the newest season of the ALGS kicks off.
This is gonna be fun, brother.
Crack, no. He's cracked.
Cracked, or flesh, is something you'll often hear when a player informs his teammates that he has eliminated the armor of an enemy and they are now vulnerable.
Wraith is cracked, man.
In the game, this is accompanied by a satisfying sound.
Crack här inne.
I kidnap two, okay, I kidnap two.
He's again and he gets another kidnap!
Kidnap is a sneaky tactical maneuver in which a Wraith player will use their ultimate to make a dimensional tunnel to an enemy team's location with the goal of having an enemy accidentally get sucked into the tunnel and be whisked away to their deaths at the other end.
This third party central.
We're gonna have to third them.
Here comes the third party!
Third partying in Apex Legends is a situation where two squads are fighting each other and another squad decides to join in, usually waiting until one team has been eliminated and the surviving team is licking its wounds. As you can imagine, this is about as welcome as someone cutting in on your dance or showing up when your party is over. But for the team doing the third partying, it could be a blast.
Let's go, man!
This has been some perfect gatekeeping.
Great job gatekeeping this squad. TSM are one of those teams gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping is a tactic in Apex Legends where teams take strategic advantage of choke points on the maps, choosing passages where teams will most likely need to go to escape the encroaching ring or other pursuers. Teams will often set traps or barriers as they lay in wait, spider-like, for their prey.
So this is actually a great rat spot. High tier ratting right now.
Devious rat strat.
Rat, also known as rat strats, are when a player is the last living member of the team and chooses to strategically hide with the intention to gain them placement points. The goal is simply to outlive and outlast opponents, whether it is by shadowing a more aggressive team, finding a corner, or a bush to hide in, or just finding a place that's difficult to assault. Ratting can even sometimes result in a surprising solo win. While this barely scratches the surface of all the insider language players and casters used in-game, we hope this short list of player slang will help you follow all of the upcoming action with your favorite streamers and in the Apex Legends Global Series. And remember,
The game is not merciful to those who lack imagination.
Welcome, welcome all to the Apex Legends Global Series Pro League. This is day number 3, and already in our first 2 days, we have seen so many things. We've seen new legends come into the lobby. We have seen new squads pop off. We've seen more established squads even fall at the drop. And that, of course, was just day 1 and day 2. Welcome to day 3 as we are knee-deep in our group stages here for Pro League. My name is Kate, and helping to pilot the dropship with me today, we've got Stella, we've got James. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. James, let's start with you. Let's play that expectations game from all the fun we saw in day 1 and day 2. What are you looking forward to here for EMEA, day number 3 of groups?
So we've got 7, 8, 9 in these groups, and my first thought is, are they going to get subject to as many hot drops as they were last week as well? What about you, Stella?
I want to see how many people are going to play crypto, honestly. Kate, you talked about having new legends in. I'm really excited to see how many people are going to be changing up their team comps, how many are going to be staying the same. Because if you remember last weekend, we didn't see a lot of Bloodhounds in EMEA lobbies. So I'm very curious to see if crypto will be back in play.
We'll also find out if Fuse will come back here for day number 3. But
so
many things, so many things. I love it. No, that's exactly right. Well, let's take a look down memory lane to find out what EMEA was like here on day number 2 of groups. Take a look.
Here we go into the bubble. That's going to be popped down. They're going to try and match it here. And sliding and gliding, in comes Matafe. 9 squads remaining. Here's Gambit. This is the team, one of the teams to watch for sure, as they are able to wipe another squad off the map. Dead side going to be the ones tracked here as Gambit from a couple different angles looking for more. The mortar's just raining down from above. Hardeki is going to get knocked on this one, but do they have enough? Gambit looking for it in game number 1, and Gambit will take it.
Trying to ward off a push, trying to hide behind the shield as well. We've got some Mark Stars coming through, and there's no more shield. Down goes another one. It goes from bad to worse. Got to get the reload in. Just that one gun for Phoenix as he tries to get the final kill. Behind the shields on either side. Got a drone going absolutely bananas as well.
Never lose those! Let's go! Lots of bombardments falling down time after time. Zeta Division, they tried to hang on, but unfortunately, they will drop. Just got a little bit too hot.
The high ground for No Fear is exactly where Scars wanted to be, but it just got taken from them a little bit too early.
Big Bam, unfortunately, looking a little bit rough right now. And as the last one, it's going to be down to Xander with the gas. Can he hold it? No! Listic de France will take game number 3.
Adoli's on the floor, but his teammates are here to help him. Or are they? It's getting even more brutal. Nask now, the grenade absolutely deletes 2, and now we've got 6 squads remaining. Na'Vi, they're on the low ground now, getting dropped on, and here come those shotguns, those crucial final shotgun shells that we were looking for, and Na'Vi will hold despite the drop and take game number 4.
You were waiting for fighting in game number 5.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you got it now. All the teams are going back and forth. 4 squads eliminated just in this zone.
That's a lot of flesh damage here. Mande, he's going to get knocked, though. Unfortunately, it's going to be down to Taishin and RPR, but they are on the tracking out in the open. Very chaotic, but just down to these 2 squads looking for the finisher.
Oh my god, my heart stopped working.
On the back! Ringman player in the whole wall!
Crypto, that's some big damages. We've got a bombardment as well. 16 squads there, but for how long? We've got so many close quarters engagements. Look at the spread of that Crypto ulti. That is so much pain. As we go down to 3 squads, and it could soon be 2 as Slaze is holding on by a thread at the moment. So maybe some thirsting here as they'll look to in the numbers, and now we're down to the final 2 squads. Gnas very quickly will make it 0, taking that last game.
And Nasky and Dell showing us exactly how they do business, and what a great memory lane we just got to see through. Stella, I'm going to start with you as we take a look at our overall leaderboard. All of our competitors are so tough. These lobbies are so scary. What did we think of day 2 here, and what are we looking forward to in day number 3?
Well, day 2, you could already see that teams are playing super aggressively and they're not afraid to chase after kills. I absolutely love watching EMEA lobbies because you can see how aggressive people get, how badly people want to keep you out of circle, and just how much these rotations really matter, because otherwise you might be getting caught out. And we did see GMT take first place in overall leaderboards, which is really great. I mean, they came out of nowhere and just kind of slapped people around. James, how do you feel about this leaderboard right now?
Yeah, one quick note is that GMT were formerly known as Gnaski Oladel now, so they've been picked up by an org, so props to them. I was impressed with some of the things we saw on day 2, like the Italian team, No Fear Gaming. They had consistent results. You can see them in 13th place at the moment, so still some work to do, but you know, there are some names we're expecting to see towards the upper end of the leaderboard, like Gambit and so on. But there are definitely some people who are lacking. I think like Scars, for example, would have liked to have got some more points from the previous week. So there's definitely work to do in the games to come today.
Absolutely. Let's take a look as we see 2 of 2. Remember, we have 40 teams that are being fielded here in 4 different groups. We've taken a look at the overall leaderboard. Let's take a look at all of our groups. James, let's start with you on this one once we get to those groups. I've asked this question many times. I'm curious your thoughts. I think every single one of these is the group of death, but you're thinking on the group of death. Is there one or is there many?
I think there are many. I would definitely agree with that. And I think the lack of bloodhounds, I think we saw one bloodhound last week in EMEA. And what's important about that is that I think that makes people more aggressive because they're not scanning for the information and people are not like necessarily as frozen as much. So there is just aggression everywhere you look in these groups. And I'm looking forward to seeing today's mix as well.
Speaking of, Stella, let's talk about who we have facing off. We're obviously A versus B. This is the first time these groups have gone against each other here in group play. Talk to me about your favorite Gambit there. Or wait, was Gambit your pick? Yes, it was.
It was. Way to spoil it, Kate. Listen, okay,
oh my
that's
gosh,
okay.
I forgot.
It's fine.
God damn it, Kate.
It's fine.
They call her Yeet Girl on the servers for a reason.
It's fine. You know what? I'm not afraid to admit who I'm pushing for here. I really want to see Gambit come back out on top again because they came like. Tom really had the best theory there that Gambit was going to come and show up, and I hate to agree with him, but he did speak the truth there. I'm very curious to see how solo queue goats will play, and also major pushers, because they're also really good teams. I don't know. All these groups have such good teams and good players. I'm just very excited to see them go up against each other. And because this weekend, we're going to see how all the teams match up against each other. Like, they're all going to verse each other. So I'm very excited.
This will be good for sure. And I apologies for giving away that little spoiler, but that's also a tease because we got some more things coming up here. So keep it with us, of course. But one thing we want to make sure I do is crack open the brains of these 2 big minds here, these big brained analysts, and find out what their 3 teams to watch are, which means it's time for our Lenovo teams to watch. And this is going to sound like a bit of a broken record, but Stella, what's your first team to watch there?
Yes, Stella, what's your first team?
Oh, man,
Kate's
I wonder
fired.
who it could be. Yeah, I'm going with Gambit Esports again. Like I said, Tom had the right call last week. They totally exceeded my expectations last week. And I mean, Hardeki, we know him, we know the name, and he's just proving to be a top slayer. I mean, we saw him ratting out for his team one time and secure 2 extra KP points. So that's sort of the thing that I'm expecting for them today. And they have really great team play. So I'm very excited to see them work together. Now, for the second team to watch that we haven't spoiled, James, do you want to lead us into that?
Yes, it is the Roadman squad, the People's Champion, Solo Q Goats, UK man's on deck. We got Shiv, we got Zipf from the island as well. We've got Diff, who, he's not from the UK, but we can give him like an honorary Roadman accreditation. So this is definitely the team in the tracksuits, man. I think that a lot of people, who watch Twitch and so on are going to be inspired by these guys. I am. I play Bangalore from watching Shiv. So I'm all in on the Solo Q Goats. Let's go.
Okay. So excited. I love it. Oh my God, I need that energy. The third team is definitely Kungurna. So they placed 4th in Group Day last week. And they also tied with Gambit in kills. So teams to watch, specifically Kungurna and Gambit Esports. I'm very curious to see how they're going to do up against each other, because Kungurna also had really high placement matches last weekend. So they're all very heavy hitters. I'm super excited to see how they're going to do, although I am, very excited to see how Gambit will do again this weekend.
Absolutely. Heavy hitters in an already scary, scary lobby, which means this has been your Lenovo Teams to Watch. And now, in a series of segments called Kate Eats Her Words Yet Again, we have that which I alluded to so many times before. And when I say alluded, as Stella mentioned, primarily speaking, spoiled completely. This is our talent predictions, and they're going to mirror a lot of what we just talked about. So I'm going to actually start this to give them a break and say Kungurna, Vicky Kitty, and I were on board with the team, the Gracefuls, the Designful, the JMWs. These guys know what they're doing. They've been consistent throughout our season number 1 here in year number 1. I'd love to see them pop off and do what we know they can do best. And I'm going to go to James here because I really want to hear you say your solo queue goats chant again one more time.
I'm not going to do it on camera, so like, because then I can deny it was me. So, I was about to do it again, but they switched it me to camera, so I'm not going to do it. But yeah, man, I have to rep the UK guys. Last week I was with 69 IQ and they had a pretty reasonable performance actually. And I think this time, these are like, I love watching these guys, all 3 of them. And the comms are great as well. I love how their comms are like proper heat of the moment battle comms. So we'll have to listen into them later on, but I'm all in for solo queue goats.
Excellent. Stella, you've already talked about Gambit and you love them. You're doing a great job already. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say let's get right into gameplay, which means I'm going to take off. But make sure you follow us on Twitter @PlayApex. And if you have a team you're rooting for, if you have a team comp you're looking for, make sure to put that on your Twitter, on your tweet. Do it to it. And we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Stella, James, have fun with game number 1.
Thank you, Kate. Appreciate you. James, what are you looking for in game number 1?
Stella, so
yes.
I don't know if you know, right, but I have this little like Bangalore toy thing, which I brought with me, but I left in the hotel.
Oh my God.
So I made a drawing of Bangalore, which I was going to show you, but I'll have to wait till later because I think we're
drawing
about to get into the game. Yeah, I made a little drawing of Bangalore, but it's well, I won't spoil it. You'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, a man of many talents.
We are into game 1. You can find it on Twitter as well, but we'll have to focus on this first game and see how these landings work out. Again, last week, 789 in particular had a horrible time landing. They had to fight early. Time and time again, didn't go their way initially, but they ended up getting used to it and made things go more in their favor.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. I'm very curious to see how many people are going to contest each other on drops. I mean, we haven't seen too many teams wanting to fight right away, but I mean, the EMEA lobbies are definitely more bloodthirsty. So I don't know. Do you think we'll see any hot drops from other teams today?
I love me some hot drops, so I hope we will. I hope we will, but maybe it depends on the mix, right? Especially, it's a conversation for North America later, but I think with the right mix of people, you're going to get some toxicity in terms of the approach on drop. So we'll see how this works out. I mean, it seems pretty respectable at present.
Yeah.
Interesting that there's no teams in the dome. I wonder if somebody will head that way a little later on. There's some beacon information there. We can see it is going to be a north heading ring, and the solo queue goats, as per usual, will be doing the trial. Standard affair here.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Every time I play ranked, I tend to stray away from trials just because I feel like it generates a lot of noise. I don't know if the payout is really worth it, but it seems like for ALGS at least, it's always come out with great armors for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time I try and land in trials, I have people try and creep in, and basically 3 kiosks versus the Prowlers, which I've started to expect more and more now.
Ooh, and they've got the gold bag. That's going to be huge for them right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it may potentially be very key for them. It doesn't look like they've got Dome on their team, so that might be quite crucial. We'll see how that plays out later on, and how important those smokes with Bangalore can be.
Yeah, and they have a caustic as well, so their caustic could potentially take the gold bag and, you know, maybe gas teams out before rezzing. So that could come into play. It looks like Gambit is moving in. Oh no, Gambit dropped here. I'm so sorry. And they're getting some decent loot here with blue shields at least and 1 gold.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good.
Oh my
With
God,
all the
look at the blue
Valks,
shield.
all the Valks we have in the game at the moment, I do wonder. Ooh.
Oh, I think did we miss a fight from Redragon here?
Seems there's some skirmishes early. We've still got 60 players up, so maybe some peppering. I do wonder how much crypto spam we're going to get with crypto ults here today as well, because we saw a lot of that. Honestly, some teams were just getting hit by like 2 crypto ults, and it felt like in 60 seconds. And some people would just hold the door and not actually replenish their armor if they had no intention of moving for a while, because what's the point? It's going to be burning your cells and so on. So
exactly,
that little meta will be interesting. But there's these 2 teams around this rock could get pretty interesting. We may see some people fall early here.
Yeah, it looks like there are at least 3 teams in this immediate area and more are coming around. But oh, it looks like one team is going to Valk ult out of there, thinking that they're not wanting to get into that action early on. Now it looks like Zeta Division is trying to get some extra shots off. But I mean, they're doing all right on armor. All these teams that we've seen so far, they're doing okay.
As these, oh, I love that we have Lobas as well, because I do wonder if there'll be some potential armor stealing later on at awkward moments.
Yes.
I'm hoping that, you know, disaster is poetry. I want to see bad things happen to people, you know, indiscriminately.
Yeah. Oh,
basically.
absolutely. Why do you think I like playing Fuse? It's for that specific reason. So I really want to point out that Taskmaster on Zeta, he plays a mean Loba. Like the ways that he's been able to get out of trouble with Loba's bracelet has just been really fun to watch. So watching them prepare here, they've got the armor swap already with a blue, just in case they do engage in this fight. I love the way that he strategizes with Loba.
Yeah, I would love to see some of the action later on. Now, one other thing I'm looking for more in the late game as well is these Valkyrie rotations. I feel like as people get more and more used to them in professional environments, I think they're going to become harder and harder to do late game without just getting deleted when you land. Because if you're trying to get a good position in a late ring, most of those are already going to be taken in many instances. We saw some crazy drops in NA last week where we had Valcult landing on a Valcult, both out of the zone, and just absolutely bananas scenarios. But I feel like it's going to become a harder decision to make, and plan Bs are going to have to come into consideration with these late rotations with Valk, because I think as they become more common, I think people are going to look for them and are going to find punishes for them as people are trying to land in a often less than ideal position.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, especially since World's Edge is such a big map. You're going to have to think about rotations early. But we do see in EMEA fighting a little bit earlier, so they end up not holding out on circles as much. Though I do remember late games, there were more circle holdouts. So that's something to consider as they move into this. And you said it was a north-facing circle, endgame circle. So it'll be interesting to see, because there are less buildings that way, definitely, and people might end up having to hold out on small rocks.
Nobody wants to do that.
And nobody wants to fight here either. Oh, here we go. Solo Q Goat's already in a skirmish over in, you know, I always forget this name, but it's right next to Countdown. I always forget this. James, please help me.
Oh, don't put the pressure on me.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, someone's about to get thirsted. Off he goes. Les Équipes de France have lost the play. We got the Wraith rotating in as well. They'll have to try and recover that banner later on. But for now, there's a longer exchange as,
wow.
I guess,
yes,
they were trying to make a portal or something. But
yeah.
That is one player very forward in no man's land who's been deleted now. And it's going to be really hard for him to answer for this kill.
Yeah, usually, so our producer did remind me that this is Skyhook. Thank you so much. This position is usually really hard to defend because you're out in the open, but since they're the only 2 teams actually fighting in the area, it seems like they are able to maintain this fight here. But Solo Q, if they want to push, they probably could, since they are a 3v2.
Yeah, they've got to be careful about it, though. I think Diff's having a little sniff, placing some barrels around. So they know where 50% of the remaining players are up top now.
Oh, and they
Shiv will be correct. Go on.
Yep. You called it. He needed to be careful, but he pushed alone. I mean, they're pushing a little separated right now, which is kind of ending up in their downs here.
Yeah, we got a bombardment, and here's the lack of the dome as well. But we'll see if he's able to get that res up.
Looks like he did out, but he was not the one with the gold bag, unfortunately. But I think we can get a listen in here to see what their strategy is.
In the building.
Yeah.
Their team might be coming with crypto drone.
Got the drone.
Nice.
I'm going
I'm
down
here.
right now.
Are they in diner?
Yeah. Underneath me.
One's on first floor, two on first floor.
I'm going.
Going up
I'm
second.
gonna.
Back one.
I'm marking.
Give me one. Give me dead.
Get the last guy.
I know where she went.
Van maybe.
Just careful of
Get the other
guys.
team.
Careful of
Yeah.
Good job.
We are well played, guys. Good job.
We need the beacon scan.
There we do. But
I'm gonna come with you and put a gas trap on it.
I'm gonna smoke it off as well. I'm not with you right now.
There's still a team from tunnel looking at me with longbows.
Yeah.
It's I don't think I can get this. I don't think I can get this.
I'll try and smoke off the tunnel. Well,
I'm gonna make a wall.
Oh, nice. Good smokes.
I made a wall.
I did another smoke. There's smokes everywhere at this point. The banger caustic.
All right,
one.
all right.
You want to redeploy for the back here? And then run it in, and then take the
Bro,
second angle.
it is your call. It is
Yeah,
your call.
I think we do that. Come here. Okay, we're landing over here, okay?
Let's scope this quadrant out here.
I'm just hitting up here.
Well, it looks like the baguette's gone bad for Le Site de France, but they still have one player up, so I'll be interested to see if they are able to rescue the banners. I'm not sure if they just left the area entirely. We can see W Sirius there now. Oh.
They may have. Do you see that respawn ship right there? I think
Oh, okay.
maybe they
So-
did. Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah, they got one at least, but the Valk is out for the count for this first game, but that's better than nothing. But it looks like they may be hunted by a second team now. We saw the rotation from Solo Q Goats, but you can see Joker's trying his best to just try and slow down this advance now.
Ooh.
See some blue armor. He's just cracking for days, so this may give Lager a chance to try and recover.
Yeah, what beautiful shots there, just holding them off single-handedly. Is it going to be enough, though? Because, I mean, Lag isn't going to be able to have any loot.
Yeah, I know one of those death boxes was in a place you don't want to be, that first guy who died. So we'll see if he's able to rescue anything from elsewhere. But, I mean, that damage was so important just to slow the advance there, because they're trying to come in like apes, but that they weren't able to do that. So maybe Le Site de France can still make something from this first game of the day, but it's not going to be easy for sure.
I think they can definitely come back from this. It's such early games that I believe they should be able to maintain, or at least maybe place a little bit higher as well, since it is 2 people left. If it was a solo, I'd say it's a little early for ratting, but I think we have hope for them yet.
I do believe there is a team called Rats in this lobby as well, which I appreciate. Yeah, there is. I can confirm in Group B we have a team called Rats.
Beautiful.
Swedish team: Mania, Sorb, Benk, and Tolkien.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
You know
So-
what? Listen, I like the name.
Yeah, I want to see some corners being held. You know, bring some
Absolutely.
damp in a little corner of a room somewhere. But let's see the France now. Well, this will be tough. Like they if they're able to get to a place of comfort later on, they will want to try and hide the fact that they are only 2 players.
Yeah, right now, No Fear is not giving them any space to back up. They know that they have the advantage in numbers at least. So they're trying to push this. And honestly, they could probably rush this, since I don't think that Lag has much in terms of loot here either. Yeah, looks like they are pushing. They want this. They want that. They want the 2 KP here. They know that this might be their free points to get, but Joke, he's just holding them back. But he's gonna run out of ammo pretty soon. He only has 16 reserve rounds left. I don't know, James. This is looking pretty dicey for Le Site de France.
Yeah, he's 30% for Portal as well, so trying to make a run for it doesn't look likely anytime soon. They will be able to hide up here for the next ring at the very least, so that's something, but it's not much.
Yeah, and it looks like Solo Q running into another team here in the tunnel. This is one of the worst places to fight, in my opinion. I hate fighting in these tunnels.
Well, let's see who can get an advantage here. Dungeon Masters, 2 purple and 1 blue.
Okay, and they're at the front of the tunnel, so they could hold this out, but they need to be careful for those teams that might be camping out in front of that. Of the area.
The longer they're fighting and firing guns there, the more attention they're drawing to themselves, and I'm sure they'll be very aware of that. We can see that Diff has he's gone up. He's been smoked like a kipper, and now we've got 2 remaining players for the Solo Q Goats as well. We've got ALGS flying towards the Dungeon Masters in the meantime, who still insist on holding this tunnel.
Yeah,
good for now.
I mean, if they have a caustic player, they might be able to hold this out a little bit better, but it looks like their team isn't really built for that. And speaking of GMT, just outside in that village, outside of that tunnel, they are in a skirmish now.
Oh my god, there's a lot of grenades coming their way. And that's going to pepper their shields a little bit. That thermite's going to make moving around a little difficult as well, but it also makes it hard to see for teams on both ends of that. You can see 789 now. They've lost their Loba for the time being, looking to get revenge. That was a nice shot, but they will quickly get deleted by GMT. They went down in quick succession, and that means we have 18 squads remaining. And GMT may have more action coming their way. As we can see, there is a Wraith portal here as well, and there are people hot on their toes.
Yeah, since they're in the circle, they want to hold this position. They want to take over this house, but because there's another team up there, they just can't push that. And they have a caustic, so they are set up for underneath the building. And I don't know if you saw earlier, but they did have a crypto drone just kind of out deployed right underneath, so they could see if anyone entered their little hideout here. Oh, Cleavy.
Riding with major pushes now.
Ooh.
2
Those
blues and a
wingman
perk.
shots.
Yeah, I love a good wingman shot. Problem is, it never comes from me.
Oh no, yeah, same here.
Yeah.
It's all pure luck with me.
Plenty of footsteps around this house. We have, I think, 3 teams. Not sure if it's 3 or 4 at the moment, but at least 3 teams fighting for position. And sometimes it is possible to coexist, but when you've got people on the outside looking at you as well, then there are very limited angles, and that may make things more urgent around the house. So just try and make some space for yourselves.
Yeah, I think GMT owns the bottom of the house right now, but I think they want to get in eventually because they do have a caustic, and caustic works the best in internal spaces. It looks like Lucy Difference is still alive on top of that building there.
Yeah, being very stubborn indeed. But that circle is getting smaller and smaller, so eventually they'll have to move.
Yeah, Lumi with the longbow shots. Just farming for damage.
Some red armor, always nice to see. And the Kraber is out in the hands of Taskmaster as well. Start breaking some glass, and again, that's not what you want to hear. When you're hiding underneath a building, basically outside, you do not want to be shot by a Kraber.
I just realized, yeah, Zeta has been able to hold this position the entire game. They might be okay here, especially with the Kraber that's able to look at teams that might be coming up behind them.
Yeah, you can see Badoli is ready to pop his ult at any point, using the ult accelerants earlier on to get it back 50%. Trying to take that black market out, but got to be real careful. Again, don't want to be standing still for too long here. We've got Dome up in the middle. This is just like, I just want to see who's the first to go down. That looks extremely awkward for all concerned.
Yeah, and you can see that Zeta is just taking picks off of the team that's surrounding this building because they're just able to get shots on everyone. They have the best angle from across the street and no one wants to contest them.
Yeah, Clean have got to get their skates on now. They are at the edge of the ring and it is about to start moving very quickly indeed. Just some late looting before they press on.
Ooh.
Definitely want to make sure you got some grenades on the go.
Dungeon Masters.
Yeah, they got to heal up before they come out of here. And very soon they're going to have to be forced into the open from this position. So this could get really brutal real fast.
Yeah, Dungeon Masters needs to get out of that. They need to get out of that tunnel, but currently they do see that they are surrounded and being held out. So they need to find that perfect time. Oh, and Zeta with the Kraber, but Zeta goes down. Taskmaster with the Kraber goes down, and they might be able to get this push.
That is a huge Dome because he was about to get deleted. That shield was not going to last much longer. Dungeon Master's now about to push out of the tunnel. Let's listen in.
Каусик.
Валька ног.
Я напался.
Гиба ног.
Рез бабли. Ай, шесть, пушит.
Я мне релоуд.
Валька на одном.
Держу.
100, Гиба.
Одно
Гиба
прям.
100.
У тебя рева.
Ты щит, по-моему, ему держал.
That was a huge fight around the rock. I'm surprised with how calm they were coming out the tunnel at the beginning. And I know that Stor in Russian is 100, so I think he was saying he did 100 to the gimme there. So that was just colossal damage for everybody. Nice digi threat on the shotgun there, but that was a massacre, man. People got boxed up like it was a pad thai takeaway.
Oh yeah, you got it. I love that. Yeah, you see how well they work together as a team. Just coordination, and Zeta does get taken out there, unfortunate, but I do believe they had some PP there, so we'll have to see how their overall score is. But you can just see how coordinated these teams are and how you don't want to push without your full team there.
Yeah, it's so easy to get your timing wrong in this game with the amount of things that are going on. That's a pretty reasonable wall for Rebel to hide behind as they get free shots. That was a completely free shot with a Kraber. That's a huge whiff. There are more chances though, and there's distraction for the team who are quite exposed out there. So maybe there's a chance for some more KP. 3 on the go at present, looking for a force now with this Kraber, but he's got to make a connection.
Yeah, he's running out of shots on that. Oh, and there he goes with one crack, but that team has white armor. Now that they have that information, they might be able to push that, but they do know that there are lots of other teams surrounding them right now. Everyone wants to be the king of that house.
Grenade starting to fly through as we are suddenly down to 7 squads, 20 people standing at the moment and still fighting on pretty much every level of this house. But Dolly still up for the time being. Red Dragon now just peeking through the windows. You've really got to be careful. There's just inches where you can move outside.
Yeah.
I think being inside is a huge positional advantage for Red Dragon there.
It looks like Rebel is running into some trouble here, getting held out hard. And it just gets absolutely deleted from the side of the building. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, not much real estate. And it's just getting busier. It's like a train station now. Almost every team is around this house, and one's just chilling at the edge of the zone, as you can see on the top left there. So that's pretty smart. They are getting some shots fired towards them, but I would rather be there for the time being than in that house. However, in 30 seconds, they're going to have to move forward, and I don't know how many teams are going to be aiming at them, but it might be more than one.
Yeah, Major Pushes is in a bit of a pickle here. They're going to be the attention of everyone, unless they can get these teams to fight each other and move in at the perfect time. But, I mean, this area is so congested. How are you going to move in? Where are you going to go? Yeah, it looks like they're just getting focus fired right now.
Right. They're just getting peppered. Just ruin those shields as much as you can. But we've got 3 full red players here, and that is a nice beam, which will at least give them a bit of peace for the time being.
Yeah, it looks like they are in a decent position for now. All those teams on top of that building are going to have to contest each other as they come out, as this final circle closes. So this is going to be pretty, this is going to be a gross final circle, James.
It really is, but the gross circles are the best circles. There's so much real estate for Sanya to peek with this longbow. Got to be careful about his armor, though. And that ring is going to be a problem now as things get tighter and tighter. We've got caustic barrels all over the shot. The wingman shots are landing as well, but they've got to down and finish these players. They've got great cover, though, to replenish their shields, but with only 1 kill on the board, I think he's going to want more from this.
Yeah, they have placement points. Now they need to get the KP to get that extra boost that they want to get to the top of the leaderboard today. And looks like Maestro Sanya does have his ultimate, so he could rain that as the people try to come back in. Because the circle's closing, and there's not going to be a lot of places for them to go.
I'm surprised that GMT still have 3 full players up, and there's a Wraith in no man's land, taking a few shots, but still alive for now. The longbow trying to deliver up top, but soon they may have to drop because that ring is closing. The ultis are coming in, as is the dome. And there's just damage coming from all directions now. Up close with the shotgun. A digi threat will certainly help with all the action happening. 180, and we've got GMT getting deleted. Maestro still have some plays up for the time being, as there are 3 squads left. People flying into portals just to try and avoid some action. Back in they go, but oh dear, the bleed out's not going to work out, and major pushers will take the first game with utter carnage around this house.
Yeah, we said it was going to be a nasty circle, and it absolutely was. Just how much damage there was going on at that last minute. So many things being thrown out, all the ultimates, just trying to secure that first spot, and major pushers takes it.
That was crazy. I think our guys are saying that Red Dragon were in that house from the beginning of time, so they've just been chilling the entire time. But then I do wonder what it was like for their resources if they weren't able to get some death boxes and re-up on the shields and so on. How difficult that fight may have been for them, but I think it was difficult for almost everybody. We saw GMT underneath the house for ages, just trying to keep all their team alive. And I don't know, it was just like a big focus. It was almost a conference, but like the most violent conference ever, with people on top. And I don't know, man, it was I feel like there were 4 teams there almost all the time from when we started seeing that house to the very end.
I know, yeah, and honestly, Zeta did it really well. They had their Loba. They were able to pull a lot of loot as they were holding their position, but they just weren't able to get into position in time as the circles kept closing. But they did such a great job. They got that Kraber. They used up most of the shots. They hit all their shots. So it's an interesting first match. I see how crazy everyone wants to get towards the end to secure their KP, so I'm very excited for that. But I'm curious how these last match results ended up.
Yeah, there were a lot of teams where I wasn't able to see where they finished off. For example, we saw Solo Q Goats with a good start, but we don't see them on this half of the table. 11 kills, though, for major pushers. I think the best we saw last week in the games that I watched at least was 12. So that's a fantastic start for them. Definitely haven't gone into this one cold.
Yeah, look at that, 23 points. And in second place was Red Dragon at 16. So that's a pretty good start. I mean, it's enough of a head start that if they keep performing at this level, they'll be able to keep pulling ahead in points. I'm sorry, my brain is still waking up.
Yeah, props to Red Dragon as well to get 7 kills again, just holding the house for the time being, sitting on the sofas. The doors were not welcoming. There was no welcome mat outside. That was Red Dragons for ages. So again, it was a pretty good start for some of the teams we see at the top of the table here. This is the winning squad: Jibby, Valkyrie, and Wraith. Those domes so important later on as well. Although when it gets really late, you can just like hop into someone else's dome and take it by force.
Look at Cleavy's damage, 2,260 damage with 5 kills. Absolutely beautiful. You want to see those numbers from Gibby because he does have that extra arm shield that gives him extra armor. So being able to tank that damage for his team is so crucial, especially in the last fights. Yeah,
you definitely need the Jibzilla on the team, and it's always good to. I like to look out for the Gibraltar, who's done the most damage each day as well, because when you've got big numbers like that, it's hard not to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, Gibraltar is terrifying. When you know how to play him right, when you know how to dome just at the perfect moment and throw down his ultimate, he can be terrifying to go up against.
He absolutely can. And we'll see more Gibraltar and plenty of other characters after this break. We'll also see some fresh, gorgeous new commentators. We'll see you soon.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back to the ALGS Pro League. It's EMEA, it's week 2, it's day 3. I'm Tom, we got Vicky on the other side in the dropship. Awesome game number 1, Vicky. Major pushers coming through with that classic beacon building, holding it down. Unfortunately for Redragons, we were talking about it in the chat before. They locked that building down the entire time, just couldn't get the dub. Still a lot of kills though.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to take that building literally from the very start. They knew. We've seen that circle before, Tom. It's nothing new here, but major pushers with not only taking the game, but with 11 kills at that, securing themselves that first place spot with 23 points.
We had GMT playing beneath the building, but it gets absolutely crazy over there because everyone's coexisting. So if you can get on the opposite side of the fence, you're going to be looking pretty solid as we take a look at that overall leaderboard.
Oh man, look at this. Redragons, of course, in that second place spot because still at the end of the day, that positioning was superior here. Of course, you could see how these points already kind of building up that gap with major pushers with 23 points in comparison to that 16 points.
And last week in our EMEA region, the highest point total overall was 54 points. So coming out with 23 points already and almost getting to that point is absolutely phenomenal. Third place, like we're talking about for Maestro Gaming. GMT, unfortunately, not able to pick up a lot of kills underneath. But if you're holding a building like that from your Redragon side and you still get 7 kills, that is really solid because when you're stuck inside those buildings, you don't have many opportunities to go and shoot out and everybody is focusing you and trying to take that over. So you got to give credit when credit's due.
And you have to also consider the compositions that we've been seeing from the EMEA region. We've been seeing a lot of Loba, but of course the Caustic, Valkyrie, and Gibby have been the common denominator here when we take a look at a lot of these teams. And of course, when you have the Caustic, why not secure that building when you already know where the circle is going to be pulling for that final circle?
You saw Zeta, they set up over across from the beacon building, hoping that I was going to pull more over towards the blue trailer. They have the Loba on their team. Unfortunately, it did pull back on over towards that building, so it's going to be a little difficult in those situations. And one of the things for GMT that may come to bite them is not running Gibraltar because we see how high of a pick rate it is. And it's a little bit unorthodox going with this type of composition when you have Wraith, Crypto, and Caustic. Sometimes you're gonna have to defend yourself from these defensive bombardments.
Yeah, because then at that point, the only mobility that you really have to rely on is that portal from the Wraith, and to be able to come out with that portal when you're also dealing with a lot of these squads, basically Valk ulting on top of these buildings, trying to secure a better positioning, you're stuck kind of out in the field with just really using those rocks for security. So it's tough here when you have those circles, but when you have a team like Redragons who understand those type of end circle situations, that's why you got to plan ahead. That's why you got to make sure that you make your movement, your rotations as quickly as possible, because these lobbies, as you've seen before, they're pretty consistent with a lot of these teams, but we are only starting with this day.
And you can see the thought process for GMT to try to get the EMP to get rid of all the bubbles, and then once a defensive bombardment comes down, everybody's going to get hit by it. But you saw over towards the tail end of the game that crypto drone flying in the air, and it was like everybody focused it on the map because they understand what's at stake. They cannot afford to get EMP'd at the end of the game.
And of course, what does that EMP also mean? That means that all Caustic traps are deleted out of that building. So that's super important. And of course, seeing a lot of cryptos coming out from EMEA region really speaks for itself because of course, we've seen the lack of Bloodhounds. We noted we didn't see any Bloodhounds in day 2 just last week, but the crypto play that we've been seeing with a lot of these compositions are there for a reason. It's because they want to take care of those Caustic barrels.
And I love what James was talking about earlier, how when you get these standoffs with the Bloodhounds, it becomes a little bit predictable in terms of how the fighting is taking place. So when we get to these end zones or just when we get to fights in general, it's always exciting. And speaking of exciting, one of the teams that's always fighting, and that was James's team to watch, is Solo Q Goats. They go over towards Skyhook, they get in that first skirmish, and you see that they split up so well. They still were able to kind of recover from that and pick it apart. I really like that listening that we had with them.
Yeah, I really like it too. I also like hearing how a lot of these intense moments from these players and how they work around it. And of course, then at the end of the comms, hearing that sense of, all right, we got this, we're just better than them, all right, we're just better. And hearing how a lot of these teams are kind of warming up. That was just game number 1, and we got 5 more games underway.
And they're always playing. That's the thing. They're just constantly playing and just grinding out and grinding out in scrims, tournament after tournament. So it's exciting to see just the pinnacle of Apex. And what's also really exciting is how unpredictable both regions are. I mean, last week on Sunday, we had 6 different winners from 6 different games in both of the regions. So we'll see if Major Pushers can come through here and be our first team to go and repeat today. But it's going to be difficult because we see exactly what everybody's up to. They are playing to win. They're going for the end zones. They're taking fights when they need to.
But what I really like is this aggression that we also saw from Major Pushers. We saw that Cleve had ended the game with over 2,000 damage, 5 kills. And let's see if a lot of these other squads are going to try to match that because, again, that gap is already building up after that first game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And taking a look at the CJ de France, Not their best game number one. They're going to be landing on over towards that Skyhook side. I just love the compositions that we're seeing, Vicky. Every single team is running what they're strong at, and it's so different, and it's just so exciting that we're not seeing the same 3 legends over and over again.
And that's what I love to see. I love seeing that diversity because it really shows you that anybody could do it. Any of these legends are capable. And you could see where that next circle is already going to be pulling. We noted, of course, before, the house a little bit north of Fragment, south of Skyhook, had a lot of chaos. There's a lot of choke points here. But now we take a look at Landslide being that hot spot where a lot of teams from Fragment are actually going to find a lot of their fights in that choke point.
When we saw the zone right there, heavily favoring over towards that staging side, we'll see exactly where the pull is going to be. It's nice to see some variety here and not having the same zone over and over again. You know who's going to love that? That's going to be Maestro. That's 13 points in 3rd place. They get the zone pulling towards them, basically getting home court advantage in this. And we'll see if another fight breaks out over towards that Skyhook side. We know we have 2 teams over there, and also Solo Q Goats going over towards Trials.
I love to see it here. Of course, Lucito Font's going to be able to have all that Skyhook loot here. Trials, of course, going over to Solo Q Goats. This is where Solo Q Goats usually lands here to be able to secure some of that loot early on. And it's great, too, because if they want to opt to get into the high ground to see what's going down on the Skyhook, they have that option with the zip line right there.
And a team that likes to fight is a team that likes to loot as well. One of the teams that come to mind in the North America region would be the team that lands over towards Thermal Station. That's going to be G2. Solo Q Goats, they are just so exciting to go and watch, and I would not want to be fighting against them. The teams at Skyhook have to be careful because they need to realize, hey, if we don't go and take this 50-50 immediately, Solo Q Goats is going to stop Trials, rotate back on over, kill us, and then go back on over. And their composition really plays that favor. You have multiple smokes, and you saw Shiv, and we all know how Shiv is strong on Bangalore. But it's awesome to go and see how they're able to take fights and also utilize the smokes to get the beacons, to get the reses. I really liked how they took that first fight in the previous game.
Yeah, you know, we talk about this team a little bit and how they did just last game. You know, you took a look at what they did last week, ending everything with 44 points. This is a team where you're going to expect some of that consistency to come out. Of course, we highlight Shiv, but the rest of Solo Q Goats, this is a team that has been a trio since December of 2020, and they've been able to build up some of that synergy since then.
Take a look at what GM2 is doing. Again, with this crypto, you're going to be able to get those drive-by scans, which is huge. Also going to be able to set up inside with Caustic inside of the trailer area, but Maestro Gaming looks like they're taking a fight early.
Oh, I love this right here too. Just trying to open things up with the grenade, try to cover if anybody is already down there because they don't have a bloodhound, they don't have those scans, and their Valkyrie's in trouble, actually caught off to the side by themselves. Maestro Gaming not starting this off in the way that they want to here, and they don't want to be the first squad to drop.
Rugby just a little bit too separated, and they were not expecting such a fast rotation, but you know, in a minute and 30 seconds on that clock in the top left, that's when players are going to start making their way over here. This 2 versus 3 is going to be so tough to take because everyone's going to start rotating over here. The Rito building's going to be taken. Now you can see Gambit is coming through, and Maestro, I don't know, they may just have to turtle inside here.
And this is going to be so tough here. As long as they can try to wait it out, because you currently see Gambit already on the train tracks, they're going to be able to move in for the third party. But can this squad finish this up quick enough before that third party rolls in? Looking at where Gambit is, I don't think so.
And this is the priority spot. This is the priority building for teams to constantly go on over towards Top Dogs, making a really great push. Look at the L-Star shots right there onto Ron. Now it's a 3-on-1 situation. The question is Gambit interested in third-party innings?
Oh, but now they've lost the Wraith, and we of course have noted Gambit is going to be off to the left here, so if they don't get that Wraith up, it's going to be some trouble, and they're already moving in, Tom, wasting no time to be able to come in.
Yeah, you don't have time to waste here. They understand. They're looking at the kill feed. They see that there is a knock on the other side. Bubble in hand if Article wants to go and use that one. We'll see if he goes and pushes that at the door entrance.
Gambit, of course, such a consistent squad and wasting no time trying to get in some of this damage. They are looking great in terms of Eagle Shields, but forcing out the dome already in the entrance. They have to note Top Dogs. They're not all in the building, and they have a Caustic as they secure that bottom side outside.
Perfect timing there for the bubble. The problem is the timing wasn't there for the third party to go and get that extra knock. Now you see the respawn or the res coming right back on for Top Dogs. Still a 3-on-3 situation over here. Top Dogs looks like they are going to run away and give Gambit to the Dorito building.
I like this idea right here too, because you also see that the Gibby bombardment is coming out. So nice to note that maybe a potential other squad's coming in, or they just threw that down for insurance so that way they can secure their escape option. But I like this. They were fighting here for a really long time. They've noted that, and they don't feel comfortable staying in that building. Of course, we also saw the pressure coming up from the Caustic, and so they just dipped in that situation. And I like that option because they don't want to waste any more time.
Not able to get the kills, not able to get the extra placement points and eliminate another threat on the map. They are going to take Top Dog's loot, though, so feeling pretty good about the timing throughout all of this, and now they're just going to continue to spread out. What you're going to see is Hardeki taking some off angles so he can cue back on over towards his team in the Dorito side, while the rest of the players are going to watch the north and northwest side. I love this positioning right now for Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit Esports is that team that had finished in second behind GMT with 58 points, and they really made a statement after they had won that first game of the day with those 13 kills. Hardeki just being an absolute menace in the lobby, and I'm expecting to see something similar from Gambit Esports as they do secure that building. They're going to keep it held down.
And speaking of Wraith, Serdell, he's going to end up queuing back on over towards the teammates. And this is what I'm talking about. You always want to stay within phase distance. Whatever legend you're playing, if you have somebody with an escape, maybe you're playing Octane, maybe you're playing Pathfinder, you cannot go so far from your team that you're not able to use your ability to get back. And you want to own as much real estate as possible. So I love what we're seeing right now from GMT and Gambit. Meanwhile, Na'Vi, they're on the ropes.
Yeah, they need some help, and their Evo shields aren't looking so great either here, Tom. And this is tough when you're stuck in landside. You know a lot of these squads are going to make their rotation over from Skyhook, from Fragment. We talked a little bit about that earlier, where I'm expecting this spot to be that hot spot where a lot of the contention is going to come down to a lot of these squads as they make their rotations.
Nesh just eating so much damage over towards the side. You can see the missile barrage from Max Strafe coming through, and some connections, not able to connect with the charge rifle. How did he take so much damage from peeking for a second?
He couldn't even tickle them with the charge rifle either. He couldn't even get a clear line of sight. He just gets melted down. Great pressure now coming in from the opposing squad, but can Na'Vi get out of here? They do have the Valk redeploy if necessary.
And Vicky, thanks to your research, we know exactly what's in the replicator today. If you're rocking a heavy gun, you're gonna be getting that purple mag, purple helmets on there as well, purple backpack. We'll see who's gonna be able to utilize that. That replicator's hot though. I'm not sure if anyone's gonna be able to use it.
Yeah, you know, it's uncommon. Usually you have Snipe Down always hanging out there, but this is the EMEA region, and we're going to be seeing a lot of these squads already take an aggressive stance. Look at this position right now from the Lucite de France, as they are going to be able to take the sniper tower. And of course, you can also crouch here, so that way you can get out of the line of sight of a lot of the other squads that rather maybe coming into circle, and Lucite de France could try to circle keep them.
We're fortunate enough to have the player outlines and also see exactly where the rest of the players have gone. Lucite de France, they have a tough go at it, Vicky. There's so many different layers of gatekeeping that they're considering just going around and taking a whole new approach here.
Actually, yeah, you could actually see this maybe trying to call out anybody who may be rotating in, because they're going pretty far out into circle. Not too sure what their plan is. If they left Joke on the sniper tower for some intel, you could hold this position so that way no other squad tries to take the spot away from them.
And again, teams and players splitting up and leaving the Wraith over there just to gather information. And Joke's doing exactly what you're talking about, but he's also concerned about a possible third party that he could collapse on. So I love that he's sitting here and just keeping eyes in the sky just in case any opportunities present themselves.
I'm wondering here what the other members of Lucite de France are doing outside of circle, maybe just trying to get some intel. Probably actually scanning the beacon. I didn't see if there was a beacon in that building, but sometimes there is. So maybe trying to get that intel actually for the next circle. And they already planned their next rotation for that next circle.
It's always big to go and get that scan onto zone number 3 because that's when it's going to typically bounce. And these players are so well seasoned in terms of where the zones are going to go. That's where they're going to go and make their move. So same play from Solo Kill Goats, but on the Solo Kill Goats, except on the opposite side of the map. They get zone 3 knowledge. Now they're going to go and push through. You also get that Valkyrie passive. However, there are going to be a lot of teams along the way. Look at the team over towards the right-hand side. Another team down below them. We know that there's teams set up in the buildings as well. So this is a risky play.
Oh, this is the issue right now, Tom, is when you utilize a Valkyrie deploy in lobbies like this, you do not know what you're getting yourself into, and you just happen to land right next to Kungarno as they hit you with a barrage of grenades. Not only does Graceful had 2 arc stars that he just tossed in there, but he's got 2 thermites too.
They're able to get back in, though, and fortunately for them, nobody was inside of the building. You could see where Zeta, they are setting up on over towards the side. We know the layers of gatekeeping that's happening from where Gambit is, where GMT is as well. Now Kungarno, they're dealing with the smoke coming in from Shiv. Said, hey, we're back in here. We're still alive. We got our teammate back up as well. So Solo Q Goats, risky play, ends up paying off for them. They will have to fight out of that situation, though.
When that smoke does that 10 extra damage real quick, you're making a statement right there. That's Shiv letting you know, all right, we still got into this building safely. What you gonna do? You're not gonna give up that building. Now we get take a look at Rats, who, we don't have a single Rat. It's the whole team that's up right now, and they're actually holding the other side of tunnel, which is a little risky here because, as you can notice right now, they're aware that there's another squad potentially coming out of Harvester.
In the top right corner, you can see 7, 8, 9, and Gambit. They're going to double team and take down Dead Inside, who's going to go out in 18th place. But look at the amount of teams already with such a difficult road in front of them. If you do not rotate into this circle early, you're going to be fighting on the outside. And this is another one of those zones where I'm worried for a team like GMT that doesn't have a Gibraltar. It's most likely going to pull out into the open. Team Rats, though, they have a team directly in front of them inside the cave, another team on the high ground behind them. We know that if they take this fight and it's not fast, they will get third party.
It's so tricky here too, because you also have to know the Valkyries that we've been seeing coming out of the compositions have allowed a lot of these squads to make these rotations that would otherwise be really difficult. Of course, the trade-off is you're risking getting pressured out when you land. We're gonna see Na'Vi now make that rotation as they see another squad already. Valko right there. Yeah, they're forced to play on low ground, which is not the situation you want to be in when you know that there's other squads all around you, even on the other side of your line of sight.
Even if you got the scan onto zone 2, you're still basically knowing this is going to pull over towards staging. It's just a matter of where's the vacancies. Na'Vi, there's no vacancy here, Vicky. You can see they've already ran into another team on the low ground. Just such a tough rotation for Na'Vi.
This is what I was noting. I saw that they had scanned another squad over to the other side of the lot, one on the high ground, as you could see the silhouettes. Of course, we are able to see that. The players, of course, aren't, but another squad obviously on the low ground. It's just so difficult to try to make a rotation here, trying to fight from the low ground. An EMP coming out. Are we going to see anybody to move up from that? No, actually, just going to have to hold down as Na'Vi, they're down a member. They're down Max Strafe.
That was a sexy EMP. I don't care if you don't pick up any kills. You know what that did? That charged your Evo shield up because that hit two separate teams. All facts, no printer. Na'Vi, though, they're in a tough spot.
Oh, right now, Gambit Esports, they're not in a tough spot. Not only have they built up already one red Evo shield, but they're cleaning up shop. Already getting some KP here, and they also have the redeploy in case they need it for an emergency. Maybe try to see what's going on around them. They're holding a really nice position as the circle may be pulling in that direction.
Because Maestro lands over here over towards the staging side. They went over towards the Dorito building. They got pushed out. Top Dogs was in the vicinity as well. And now Gambit's basically the king of the hill throughout all of this. But you see the positioning from 0-0. We're not exactly 100% sure where zone number 4 is going to pull because we don't have the scan on that one. So we'll see with 18 squad. Oh, thank you. Perfect timing over here as we do see a little bounce up over towards the west-hand side of staging.
And you know, aside from the railroad tracks that a lot of these squads are going to try to rotate from, you have to know already the squads that are holding down some of these buildings with the caustics coming out, they're going to be able to secure that early on. That portal just floating in the air. Not too sure if that was an attempt of a kidnap or so, but it's going to be tricky to see how some of these squads make their last-minute rotations with Gambit, of course, still securing the same building that they tried a third party from earlier on in the game.
Back to all planned. Was it all planned? We'll see here very shortly as they're in a priority position over here, rocking the Loba. 30-30, still one of the more underrated weapons, in my opinion. I think that it's really good in scrims, really good in tournament scenarios, especially with that 3x. No Fear Gaming on the outside looking in. They have the scan where zone number 4 is going to be. They're safe for now for these 50 seconds, but in the next 2 or 3 minutes, they're going to have to move, and nothing is more annoying than multiple crypto drones flying around. Fortunately for this, it is their own.
Yeah, I have no privacy here. I'm just being seen in every single direction by these drones, just trying to get into my business. No Fear Gaming holding some of these angles. You could see the intel coming in from Shex, as you could see as he's going to rotate out of the situation. Know that there's another squad that may be rotating right behind them, but No Fear Gaming, they don't want to get sandwiched, which is exactly what's going to happen if they stay in this positioning.
The good thing is they have a Wraith portal if they want to go and use that one a little bit later on. You could always do the classic portal into a bubble on the very edge and hope that multiple teams are fighting, and then you could come in and just take out the scraps. But nice little overhead here, taking a look at what's going on the northwest side of the map compared to where the zone's going to be. Looks like a fight's going to be breaking out. La Cité de France pushing in.
Oh, here we go. Landslide, of course, being that area, and La Cité de France, who come out on top, get the KP, secure this truck. I love what I'm seeing here, and they're also going to have so much to work with some of these boxes, because they look like earlier on when we had first seen them, not only did they have white Evo shields, but they look like they were struggling a little bit in terms of loot.
I like the discipline here from La Cité de France. They could have did the same thing that Na'Vi did. Maybe make a late rotation with that Valkyrie, but understanding, hey, there's a lot of teams that we have to get through. If you're going to play edge, play edge. And when you're rocking the Gibraltar, you do have that opportunity. But holy cow, talk about the amount of teams that are in these buildings. I see 3, I see 4, maybe 5.
Oh, Shiv, Steve, they were just basically there feeling secure. Meanwhile, Congarner saying, that is none of my business. There is so much action happening in that building that I am so glad that we did not end up pushing. You saw the barrage of grenades that they threw in that direction, and Congarner, they're going to hold this position. They have no reason to give this ground up, especially with another team right on top of them. It's going to be La Cité de France.
And then you have 789 Solo Q Goats coexisting over here. You have G Dolphin and his squad over there. Gambit just waiting to third party all this action. They are so safe. It's going to be exciting to see what they're going to be able to do. But now you see that zone pull, and we had that scan going from zone number 3 to zone number 4, clean in a perfect spot inside of this building.
exactly. This is one of those squads that right now that they want to make sure they can keep this trapped up. The Caustic, of course, coming in from Dolphin. They know where a lot of these squads are. But again, you have to see that there's some squads that are holding the high ground off to their left. That cliff is going to be so crucial for this final circle as they hear these crypto drones coming out, which could delete these Caustic barrels.
And when you look at that map, you see 1-2 structures on the train tracks right there, and then 3 structures overall with 2 teams currently existing directly in front of you. So there is going to be a lot of opportunities to get some sort of safe haven. Gambit, though, they have to now make a play from their position. The question is where are they going to go? Because a lot of the teams haven't fought yet. So this next 50 seconds is so crucial, Vicky.
And that's why they're also just kind of hanging out here by the edge of the circle, Tom. This is so important because they need to know if any of these squads rotate behind them. They don't want to be sandwiched, noting already where a lot of these other squads are kind of bringing the action for this next circle.
Zeta still on the outside looking in. They're playing on that fence in the open area where the pills are. We do see zones sometimes end over there, but not right now. Not today, Junior. Is Gambit now having to fight again? And this is just such a good spot, but the question is will they be focused? If someone starts to pushing up over towards them, they are going to be in a tough spot. But we do have it listed in with Zeta Division. Let's hear what their strategy is going to be.
Скинь маленький.
У меня 0.10.
На 2 больших. На 2 больших.
Пойдем
мываться, пойдем мываться. Пора уже.
Прям сейчас?
Да. Да. Вот тут чел. Ну пока
Прогонять надо.
Вот.
Большую банкуем. Справа сверху могут зайти.
Не могут.
Но они в зоне, да.
Попал.
Не могут пикать.
Одно хп. Бля, пацаны, пикайте их нон-стоп. Одно. Блять, его. Слышите, Валька сюда кушку закинула. Посмотрите.
Смотрю, не вижу никого.
Закидываем. Там, наверное, есть, да.
Я к Дане есть еще. Даю нейт.
Все, вот эти кошмарить, там бабла нет.
В нас ульту сдали, нокнули одного.
На меня. Давай, без бабла, да.
Блять, там зона дохуя сзади, оказывается. Может, назад отойдем?
Не так много. Не, это хуйня, там умрешь. Там нет никого, скорее всего.
Могут падать на нас, я лутаюсь.
ТП ушли вот сюда, смотрите.
Армор на
Вот зона до последнего на нас. Надо чуть-чуть бэкнуть, мы потом нейдами выбьем.
Окей, хорошо. Блять, я бы сольников прочекал тут. Мне кажется, там двойка сидит.
Да, мы идем с тобой чекать их.
Чекайте, я смотрю право.
Слышишь? Один там встань, Лёх.
And they moved in from a poor position into a perfect position. Vicky, you can see they are actually in the next zone. Great communication and great focus fire together.
And I love the positioning too. You'd love to see how a lot of these squads try to make up what they could do next, so that way they could get these clean rotations without getting put in so much pressure. As you can see right here, 7, 8, 9, not only securing a building, but they have the Loba, they can have the black market to replenish on any ammo, and a high ground dome right now actually saves Spencer. Now Rebel in some trouble. They're down a teammate and they're down shield. They need some help here, Tom, and he jumps into the Wraith portal. This is a desperate move here to just try to live longer and look right at the opposition staring at you from the other side.
One of the keys to competitive Apex is keeping the zone towards your back and keeping the action in front of you so you don't get flanked. Gambit really doing a great job of that as all this action is happening. They are coming through, landing down extra shots, trying to pick up extra KP. City de France, they're stuck underneath the bridge over here. Remember, that's where Na'Vi tried to play, but when there's so many teams looking at you, it makes things a little bit difficult. Nice bubble right there, as they should be able to heal.
That was so tough too. You saw that there was somebody right on their flank and it looked like a rat here, but Gambit Esports, they're also down a member, being able to beam down with the wingman shots. You don't even need anything bigger than a blue mag, but you may need some help here. A dome for a dome, they try to charge in. The Arc Star missing its mark here, but absolutely huge. I'm not too sure if he actually got the stuck there, but the bombardment is gonna not only funnel them outside of the safety of the dome, but they are gonna secure that kill too.
Amazing Arc Star, but it's just not enough. All planned. It was planned. They come through out of their spot, and then they take them down with a nice third. As soon as you see a player on Gambit go down, they're just so darn good. Everybody in this lobby is.
Yeah.
When you get an opportunity, you have to collapse. Meanwhile, GMT, they're still alive, but how long? Nasky takes a lot of damage. Gels there as well. CJ de France down one player as well as the zone starts to close. Is this high ground in? It looks like they are. You can see from that little blue spot right there, that indicates if you are inside the map or not, right where it says the zone is closing. Now they have this high ground with plenty of opportunity to work with this loot.
just having to utilize the banners for some cover. This is so tough here. They're out of laggers, so they don't have the protection of the Gibby Dome for this circle. Meanwhile, all planned, they don't have no issue with this loot. Not only do they have the black market, they're going to be able to secure some of that last minute loot, take that away from some of these squads. And Sirius, he can't even get some beamage down here, and he does. He finishes him off. Exens was one. He couldn't even heal perfectly with the squad right on top of him.
I love the 3-2-1 right there. I like the positioning, but you can see they're one of the teams that's the furthest from where that zone is going to pull. So many teams coexisting continuously. It's been Solo Q Goat stuck in here with 7, 8, 9. Shiv looks like they're running low on heals. He does hit the med kit. Someone maybe wants to play Loba here and drop the black market for them, because Shiv with gray armor, it's going to be tough. If anyone can pull it off, though, it's Solo Q Goats. That's going to be James's team to watch. Kangarna coming through. Not their best performance so far, but hopefully they can put things together with 7 squads remaining.
At least the fact that Solo Q Goats are still holding on to this building. They got booted from the high ground, but they're still holding on to the building, and that's what matters. Oh, can they do something about the Valk squad ulting right in front of them? They can't stop them, but they still want to stay in this building, because as you mentioned before, Tom, Shiv, he's only got the white Evo shield. He was forced to swap out earlier on.
But that's where he's going to throw that Bangalore ult in the smokes. Hopefully he's going to be able to do something. You can see return to battlefield. This is completely legal play. 10 seconds before he's going to have to drop down. JMW does have the bubble as well. I'd love to see him just drop it immediately when he falls down. Will he be able to heal? There's a portal directly in front of them. Not running caustic, so they can't throw the barrels inside, but somehow, some way, a defensive bombardment gets inside the bubble, or did he step out?
That was the bombardment, I believe, that just came down a lot earlier on when you made mention of it, before they had just landed right there. Really coming through, Shiv having no issue getting the shield swap. May need to go for another one here if he's got the time, but the bombardment pressuring him out. Solo Q Goats now on the low ground.
I love that. Shiv coming through with the great matter. Now he's landing the shots. Everybody picking up all the loot that they need. Zone is still closing over here. Has one smoke in the back pocket if he wants to use it. 76 headshot right there onto Zanya. Shiv now the kill leader as well. Solo Q Goats gonna go for the redeploy.
That was absolutely insane. Shiv's bombardment right there, just being able to actually get that knock, and now the Valkyrie ult allowing Solo Q Goats to delay the inevitable here. Circle closing in already, just trying to figure out a way for them to safely land. They got the safety of the smoke, but you don't have that cover for much longer.
Another smoke onto the high ground right there. I thought he was going to smoke the top of the roof, but what a great play to get over towards the high ground. That's going to be serious dropping. Look at the shots coming in from Shiv. It's not enough, though. Caustic gas is taking away the zone as well. Zip it. Trying to stay alive as long as possible. It's getting crazy.
Oh, Diffuse now just trying to be able to push in. He gets the crack with the Arc Star, but Clean is the ones that come out on top. The superior positioning and the final circle going in their favor. That's what I like to see. Game 2 in the books for Clean.
Clean, the highest points in terms of going through the qualifiers. They won the 4th week as well. Former coach of TSMG Dolphin and Clean, they rocked the inside of the trailer for quite some time. They push outside and they get the dub.
You love to see. I love the positioning that we saw from so many of these squads. It was absolutely chaotic, from dropping from the high ground behind the safety of those banners, looking at Lucita France, and then Solo Q Goats trying to delay their landing with the Valko. You love to see it. The bombardment too coming in from Shiv. I absolutely love what I'm seeing from these teams, Tom, and it really highlights here the aggressive play that we are seeing right now here for this second weekend in comparison to the last week.
So many different compositions, so many different play styles, so many awesome plays overall. When we look at Solo Q Goats and what they were able to do, we thought they were going to be taken out early when they rotated over towards the building, but it was Clean coming in with the dub. Solo Q Goats, they're going to take 16 points overall, 9 on that placement. Very well done. This leaderboard is definitely going to shake up.
It's actually really interesting to see how Solo Q Goats has been performing so far too. They're right behind Clean with that score. Of course, they got second, but they had 7 kills secured. And being able to get a lot of these kills is so important here. But then you compare it to game number 1 with Major Pushers ending that game with 11 kills. Yeah, that's what I like to see here. But Clean, just like that after that second game, they've tied things up. Not only did they go up 5 places, Tom, but they now are in tied place against Major Pushers for 23 points.
I think 2 surprises to me is Maestro getting gifted the circle after getting 3rd place in game number 1. They're not able to do anything big. They get taken out early in game number 2. Also, my team to watch, Gambit, they were not able to get things going in game number 1. And game number 2, it looked really solid. They came in with the 3rd party. Unfortunately, no matter how good the wingman shots were, they weren't able to put as many points on the board as they would hope for. I'm looking out for them to have a strong bounce back game in game number 3.
And same could be said right now about Kungarna. That was the team that I was really looking at going into this day. And they may not be performing the best right here, dropping down even 2 spots in comparison to the first game. But it's kind of like what I was saying earlier, Tom. It's just game number 2 in the books. We have some games coming up here. And hopefully a lot of these teams, they could shake off some of the rust, because this is not the Kungarna that I'm used to seeing. The Gambit Esports that I'm used to seeing. We saw these teams go absolutely crazy. Hopefully they could come back with it.
And same with Na'Vi. Again, they had that rotation going into the zone, thinking that was going to be free. As we take a look at the damage being laid down. Yes, not the biggest in terms of laying down all of the hurting, but still getting that dub, getting those kill points. That's all that matters when it's all said and done. 5 kills overall, getting those extra placement points. Again, 17 points for them. Usually we see bigger scores when we see a W. We saw 23 points for major pushers in game number 1. That's why we're seeing such a close leaderboard now.
Yeah, you know what's really nice to highlight here? Despite them not having as strong as a performance when you take a look at damage and kills, because they got that first place, they got those extra 12 points here, and aside from those extra kills that they were able to maintain, it allowed them to get tied for first place already, Tom, and it's important for Clean to maintain that and maybe kick it up a notch when it comes to the aggression.
And we're still on track. We've had 6 different games last time on Sunday. We had 6 different winners. Today, 2 games, 2 different winners. We'll find out who's going to take game 3. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
PCs that are stylish on the outside and savage on the inside. Lenovo Legion is the official PC and monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back. All right, we are going to be going into game number 3 soon. But James, let's talk about that last match and what we saw. That seemed a lot heavier than the first game. At first game, it felt like the teams were a little bit scared to engage in fights, but game number 2, it's more of what we expect from EMEA days.
For sure. I think nobody wants to go into the day with a bad game, so maybe people are a bit tentative, a bit cold going into the first one, but that second game certainly heated up very quickly indeed. Kind of skipping straight towards the end, I can't believe that Val cult from Solo Q Goats. It's a really interesting dynamic because, as I mentioned before, it's kind of like extremely dangerous to do and that's the latest of late game. But at the same time, if you're a team on the ground, you can't all afford to be shooting the guys up top because then you're going to get shot by somebody else on the ground. So there's a kind of weird dynamic where you may be able to land. I won't say get away with it because their landing was crazy as well around caustic gas and so on. So how they managed to survive to climb on top of the truck is completely beyond me. I think from their perspective, the end was a little bit brutal. Diff found himself about 5 meters inside the ring, and he didn't last long at all, which I think gave the victory to Clean towards the very end there. But there was a lot of crazy action in that game for sure.
Yeah, the circle, you really can't underestimate the circle's damage once you get into the late game state. Like even circle 4, it starts to hurt so bad. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, I agree. The repositioning was really risky, but it worked out for them. So I'm happy that we got to see Shiv bring out Bangalore's ultimate and down that Gibby from inside his own dome, which was really exciting to watch. I mean, I don't know about you, James, but I don't really like playing Bangalore. I'm not the best with her, but watching Shiv play is like a whole other experience.
Yeah, it really is. It's great fun. And I think there was a point where he had gray armor and he was 60 away. And I think he was essentially using the damage from landing a smoke to evo his armor. Because it went from 60 to, I think, 31 when he hit some people with his smoke. So that's really hard times, but there's always a way, you know?
I did see that. Yeah, I believe he threw his smoke into a small room that had 3 people and it hit all 3 of them. So absolutely wonderful to see that. I have to say Caustic has been pretty good for teams because today at least, because everyone's been crammed into small spaces. So if you throw a Caustic ult into one of those rooms, it's pretty much game over for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we'll see if that's going to be the case for this game as well. But that was a huge pickup for Clean. The question is, can they get a second one? As T-Squared mentioned earlier on, last week I think for the most part, we didn't see one team get 2 victories. I think towards the end in NA, Space Station got a second victory. But apart from that, especially in EMEA, everybody just got that one dub on the board now. So they've got quite a few opportunities to try and get a second one, which would be a great result for them. But, you know, for me, I think we've got to focus on Gambit a bit for this third game because they're kind of lacking at the moment. We saw some great wingman shots from Hardeki. Yeah. He was landing shot after shot after shot, but ultimately they didn't have that much to show for them.
Yeah, I also want to point out that Licita France did make a comeback after their last game, the first game. They were making up for it. They had a team wipe when we switched to their POV, and they were doing pretty well. I think they woke up. Very happy to see that.
We saw some pretty fast team wipes in that game as well. I'm looking forward to more of them. So we will be in the game very shortly. I wanted to show you. This is a drawing I did since I didn't have a Bangalore with me. This is my. This is my Bangalore. I don't know if you can see that.
No, it's a white paper, but I am imagining the most detailed
That's
Bangalore
even better,
photo.
Isn't it? That's
Yeah,
as good as the
absolutely.
drawing, I promise you. It's not much better than a blank piece of paper, so never mind.
Yes. Well, all right. So going into game 3, what is it that you want to see, say, Gambit pull off?
I want them to show people who are watching what they're capable of, because of course we're always going to have new people coming into the stream. People who are new to Apex or people who are new to Apex competitive. And I think that Gambit are definitely one of the most talented teams on the server. So I just want to see that demonstration of skill. We saw some teases of it with Hardeki on the wingman, but I want to see them get a higher placed result, which has to surely be inevitable for a squad such as this. They'll be going for the zone information instantly, looking for that green ring to find out where they need to be headed.
Yeah, so another thing I wanted to point out is what I love about Apex is that no match is ever the same. Sure, you might get the same sort of circle, every other match. But seeing competitive Apex, you never know what the conditions are going to be. You never know what team you're going to go up against. And the fact that you don't know where the circle's going to be, you might get a new weapon. That sort of thing really keeps competitive Apex on the edge. And I love watching these teams adapt their playstyle.
You can see that ring will be heading towards the tree. I quite like watching those zones that finish in that tree area because it's so interesting. The teams who fight for the building at the back with the three circles in it, and the people who try to play underneath and so on. Like, I like the carnage of it, so I'm excited for the late game of this one. We saw some nice sniper shots in the previous game. We saw some really nerdy positions as well. People hiding behind the banners and so on. People landing essentially out of bounds to snipe other people who are pretty high up with snipers and so on. So looking forward to seeing what kind of action we're going to have in that respect in game number 3 here.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be another clustered game. I mean, the last 2 games that we saw, all the teams were clustered into 2 different buildings. So I don't know, maybe we'll see another highly contested game. It'll be very interesting to see. And looks like one of the Rebel team members picked up a charge rifle. How do you feel about the charge rifle, James? I got to ask, because it's a very polarizing weapon. How do you feel about what are your thoughts on the charge rifle?
I'll tell you that just in a second. But before that, we've got a clip from Rebel to look at.
Who I think is the best player in competitive Apex? I would have to go with my own teammate Taylor, because he's always been like, he's the IGL, but if he wasn't the IGL, he would be one of the most fragging out players in the game. He can do anything better than most people. Like, he could play our roles better than us, but he has to hold himself back by being the smart one and the caller on the team, and he can't really run around for himself, and he has to take care of us as well as himself. So I would say my teammate Taylor is one of the strongest players because he can do anything better than you can.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that gameplay from his teammate and see if he is one of the best players in the world, or at least on this server. But to answer your question about do I like the charge rifle, okay, so as Vicky quickly learned last week, I am a massive troll. So I like playing evil, sadistic characters. I like doing big damage. I like annoying people and just doing things to trigger opponents, right? So I like the charge rifle.
Yes,
I love the charge rifle. I'm the no scope god with the charge rifle, the hip fire Jesus. But so yeah, I'm a big fan of it because I just like, instilling a feeling of dejection, like shredding people's shields and so on. Yeah, I'm a total.
James, okay.
Well, what words can I not say? Yeah, I'm that guy basically.
Okay, I don't know if it's because of your accent, you just sound very calm about it, but it's almost alarming how calm you sound talking about how much you love griefing people.
Oh, this is a lifetime career, Stella.
Okay, all right. Listen, it's just terrifying. You sound like a Bond villain.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a big compliment. But yeah, no, you're terrifying.
So what is the climate around the tree here? We see that a few teams have posted up already, as we might say.
Yeah, it looks like they're all staying away from each other. I mean, it looks like they're just trying to establish their space here. It does look like 2 teams are clustered a little bit close again. And everyone's just trying to establish their position as the circle closes.
Okay, I found a good description for the charge rifle, right?
Oh God. Okay.
So
hit us with it.
the price of a kidney on the black market, you can make a lot of money if you get a few kidneys, right? If you get a few kidneys like in your pocket or whatever, in a fridge or somewhere. I feel like, you're blasting somebody with the charge rifle, right? You're shredding all their shields. They're gonna feel like they've just had a kidney stolen. So I feel like the charge rifle's kind of like the kidney thief of Apex.
Okay. I don't know how to respond to that, James. I appreciate you taking the time to make that description. I appreciate that. Looks like these 2 teams are trying to poke damage at each other. I think they're a little bit bored. Did you see that other team member firing their wingman into the air?
I did, yeah. Just some greetings. Can find a window to look at each other, do some crouching. They've got a long wait ahead of them, essentially. And maybe they can spam the odd Q, break some doors, and get a bit of shield evo going on. But apart from that, there isn't too much I think they want to do. They just need to focus on people trying to encroach on their position ultimately. And that's going to be a while yet because there's a lot of area to play with, but not necessarily for Na'Vi, who are in a lot of trouble. A quick portal to avoid an Arc Star, and there is some retreating to do, but maybe not for some of them. Hands and knees now as they may get a chance to go for a res here. We'll see if the other team are willing to go through that portal and try and go for these kills. Things are chill for the time being, but we still have armor being broken. Na'Vi are not in a good position, and who knows what lies where they're running away to either.
Oh, and it's the Cat Boys that are making their pursuit, but it looks like they are going to pull back knowing that there is another team shooting at them from across the way.
Excuse me, Stella, could you please pronounce the full team name? Thank you.
Yes, of course. The Uwu Owo Cat Boys are in pursuit, doing some damage here with the longbow, and it looks like they do have that holo sight for the sniper, which I love that sight so much. It gives you so much intel across the map.
Yeah, digi threat on a sniper is glorious, and it just makes the information seeking, the target selection just faster. You know, just looking for red is all.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
That's really useful. That's really useful. So we've got GMT doing some fishing here with the wingman on the outside. We've got a crypto flying around.
Yeah, that
Looking for
crypto
some
information. That information is so crucial because then you can track where people are going. Bloodhound is great. I think Bloodhound is still a great pick, but crypto gives you live information as long as your drone is up and healthy. So this is really great. They're able to track this team. They know that they're all stacked up together, so maybe they're not going to push just yet.
Yeah, I was watching TSM in some scrims the other day, and they were going through some tunnels, and the call was to play to the scan. So they were kind of handicapped by the cooldown, essentially, just looking to refresh that information. So I think with crypto, of course, it's a completely different approach if you're in a fighting position versus a different team. So there is a significantly different play style, and there is the crypto ult. That's going to cause some problems now. But
Yeah,
GMT, they're not really committing to anything here. They're just having a look and spotting the reaction, but they've got some bullets coming towards them from elsewhere now, and that may make things a little more urgent as they head a little closer to this team here.
Yeah, I think this may have to be them pushing in, or at least finding another position, because now they've been chased out of their other building. They can't go back because that's a lot of open space for the other team to shoot at them. So maybe a bad call to stick around and poke.
Yeah, well, they don't have ring problems at the very least. They can chill for a while, but where is this Wraith off to? Looking for a kidnap, but that really hasn't worked out their way. Do they dare chase? It looks like they might. This could be a complete disaster. There's a caustic barrel right there. Says hello, cracks, and just goes back. That is very cheeky indeed, but my God, was that a risk?
That was so fun to watch. And Sardell now with only 18 more damage for his evil shield.
Top dogs get no dog treats for that play. 0-0 is completely dead, and Mimu's got no. Oh my God! This is a complete disaster for the top dogs.
Oh, Mimu, no! You can get away. I believe in you.
Oh God.
GMT has now taken this building that they were scouting out. Look at how the turntables have turned for them. I'm so happy that they were able to get inside this building and secure the spot.
Well, mistakes have been made. They really have.
Yeah, now they own this building, and I believe, the next circle will be here, and it looks like they might be trying to go for a map scan. So they can hold that building for a while. Look, this is your favorite spot, the tree. Looks like a lot of teams are already stacked up in different positions. They're just trying to establish where they can stay, but I feel like right under the tree is a really hard spot to maintain.
Yeah, this looks very, very awkward indeed. We can see an exchange of gold helmet between the Jibby and the caustic.
I love it.
Well, maybe they might give the gold helmet to Valk just to spam Q if they feel safe enough.
They could do that. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're in any immediate danger, so it looks like they're just taking turns, getting their ultimates up and their Qs back up. Oh, look, solo Q Goats in a fight. Diff Q not in a great health position here. They're gonna have to back up.
Back up to where? They are in a ropey situation.
Yeah, this does not look great for them, but they do have a little bit of cover from the columns here. But
I think we've got a listening on them right now, actually.
Okay, let's go in.
Yeah, just honor stuff is good. Just weather it for now. It's just because we just free deployed. These teams are fucking
Yeah.
horny.
Yeah.
Nice. Good smoke, Shiv.
Yeah.
Alright, there's a Loba team playing close to us, so don't drop your shit, okay?
Yeah, for sure. You're right, you're right.
Okay, I'm gonna start. Annoying.
Keep everything smoked if we can.
Yeah, I'll do best I can.
I'm gonna start breaking this door so they can't fuck around with it. Okay, we're losing a lot of shields, boys. Just literally just turtle this corner.
Yeah.
If anyone's peeking and shift to smoke and it's me to fucking try break.
I mean, I'm not taking damage right now,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get traps off as well, so we have like extra cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ten seconds.
Could also go into the tunnel. There's no one there.
Rotate's risky though. Don't have a jump pad or a port.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think we just chill here, boys, for now.
Yeah.
There are more angles on them than a maths exam. And I just didn't even know, like, what direction do you choose to go in? The only thing they have to their advantage right now, really, if you can even call it that, is Shiv smokes to just obscure some vision. But, like, the more they get peppered, the more they get touched, the more urgent it is that they find somewhere to go because they're going to run out of shields. But you saw the awareness there. They know there's a Loba around, so they're saying, like, don't do any shield swapping, anything like that, because it's going to disappear. Just chill in that respect. They are in the tightest of spots.
Yeah, but they are playing their angles really well. I mean, there's not a lot you can do in a situation like that where you're just pinned from all directions. So, I mean, they're doing a good job of staying alive and trying to place because we're going into Circle 3 and there's still 20 squads left. This is highly unusual for EMEA, I feel.
Yeah, and that's why things are feeling very claustrophobic. And here we've got one of those dangerous Valcolts. Where are you landing, bro? Where are you off to?
You know what?
Arc flying everywhere.
No.
We've got one down already, and it's going from bad to worse. We've got a bat that's required. More grenades are coming through, and the down shield will be needed just to give some cover. Again, Valve ults, I feel like, are only going to get more and more dangerous. We've got a peeping Tom with the crypto drone flying through as well, and there is so much trouble here for major pushers again.
Yeah, you can see that there's a team on the ridge just looking at them, and you know that there's a team inside this building, so they're completely surrounded. They're in the worst position to be at right now. Major pushers having won the first game. I mean, they're in a really rough spot, and they might get taken out here.
Oh, man. They might get thirsted here. I don't know about you, but some of these teams are feeling parched. Adios, amigo. Boxed off like some donuts for Jeff and accounting. See you later.
Oh my god, that was an easy 3-piece meal for them, and they are out. An unfortunate Valk ult. Another Valk ult onto this building. How many teams are going to come over here?
It is a Valcult party, and there are players crawling everywhere. The Mastiff is coming in now, but there are players getting cracked as well, and it just goes from bad to worse. Sorbank's on the floor for the Rats, and I think the Rats have just been exterminated. We've got the Cat Boys now. Ooh, woo, oh, whoa, as they say. Round the back. Don't forget, there are gaps in these buildings, so the Arc Stars can come from all directions.
Yeah, it looks like the Cat Boys actually ended up coming in right as the fights ended, so no one's really looking at them. Because, you know, as other teams would think, there's no way that another team would push in underneath there, right? So now they have all that loot for now, but they do need to find another position to move to, because as they saw, that area is just not good for them. Oh, Gambit Esports going up against Solo Q. Looks like Solo Q is in a bad position. Gambit, they know that it's a 3v2. They know that Solo Q is weak. They might be able to push this, but they are being cautious of the other teams surrounding them in tree.
Zipef is dead. I think Shiv is dead as well. So if Diff is surviving, I think he's the only one at the moment. You can see the boxes lying there. 17 squads make it 16. Now look at the kill feed. Clean have been deleted. We got a lot of grenade downs coming in recently as well. You've really got to use your grenades when it's the right time. And I think that the Solo Q goats have been deleted. 3 boxes under the bridge there. Has to be all of them, surely.
Yeah, it looks like Gambit takes the spot that Solo Q was at, which actually looks like a pretty defensible position right now, since most of the squads have moved in further into the tree.
Let's scope this quadrant out here.
Na'Vi still working with blue shields, not looking super great. I mean, Nesh does have 52 damage left, but towards endgame, I mean, this is going to be a cluster, and you want your health to be up as much as possible.
789 now. Again, they had the baptism by fire last week. They've got all their players up. And that's, considering what we saw in the last 2 minutes, that's a pretty good situation. But again, we mentioned Gambit earlier. They have taken the position the GOATs were in previously, but there's a lot less pressure now than there was when the GOATs were there. They've got some good armor as well. 1 gold, double purple. So they are probably a lot more comfortable than the GOATs were in a similar position. But we'll see what they can do. There are 15 squads left. There's a lot of play remaining. Zeta getting pressured now as they're looking to fall back to a safer position. A quick shield swap. We see a Jibby is dropped around the portal, and the L-Star is going to crack and maybe do even more than that.
Oh, they might be able to salvage this. Oh no, Sunset goes down. It's just Taskmaster now.
Yeah, Streamy and Andy Jack from the Italian team are starting to put in work again. They were consistent last week, and they're getting some nice KP on the board here as well.
GMT in probably one of the better positions to be in because you get this overlook on all the teams. Oh, and Nasky going in. Gets the down.
That's a nasty surprise coming in from the top. They didn't expect that whatsoever, and that's a very nice position for GMT. They've got plenty of space to work with for the time being. Portals being put up as well if they want to try and hop in later on, and there's a lot of KP to get now. We move down to 10 squads. Na'Vi getting put on the floor as well. Gambit are having some trouble now. Leseek the France putting in some work. GMT still chilling for the time being. Arc Stars flying through. We've got the Qs as well from the Valks. GMT a little low, but again, the position is really helping them at present. No fear, still alive, just around the corner, but Andy Jax has been arc-starred by Badoli, so that'll give GMT some space to work with, and you can see they're going to try and make it even worse for them now. Andy Jax has been eliminated, I believe, by the caustic gas of Badoli. 789 will get some KP as well. 8 teams are left, and I think more will drop quickly as well.
Ooh, Nasky cutting it a little bit close there, but Nasky's crypto has been able to provide them so much information. They're in a really good spot, but they are going to have to leave this ridge or at least play the very corner. And it looks like Sardell did mark where they need to go next. They do have the high ground, and I think they might be in the best position right now.
Leseek de France have a box, and that rock will actually really help them with the angles they need to focus on, i.e. the building to their right here. So they're in a reasonable spot in terms of the cover they've got. But again, they will have to get their skates on soon.
Yeah, they are going to have to play this team. They're just going to be contesting for the next spot in the circle. So this team, they are going to have to fight them whether they want to or not.
Well, it looks like they're going to go for the Valkyrie. Did they have to cancel it, I guess?
It got canceled because she got hit by the other Valk's Q, unfortunately. So now they don't have that as an option.
Timing. Yeah, where's your Valkyrie, bro?
Looks like they're just going to have to run it in, old-fashioned.
Yeah, and we can see all planned are just chilling now, and we can see the importance of getting to these buildings early and or holding them. They're just admiring all the action that's happening on the outside. However, the people on the outside are getting a lot of the KP as well. Leseek de France putting in even more work now as they try to find some kind of cover, but this could be the end for them as the bombardment comes through. Ooh. Andy Jax has been dropped, and for no fear, they've lighted on one, but it may be coming to an end. 7, 8, 9 trying to hold on for dear life around the rock. We've got caustic gas all over the shop as well. All I see is yellow and orange.
It's absolutely disgusting on this corner of this circle here, and they're just getting held out. They can't go anywhere else. They have to play that cover of that tiny ridge, all planned, holding this building. Looks like they don't have any defensive characters. They don't have a caustic that can help them hold this building.
Crypto waltz coming through, and all planned a bang in the middle of the healing zone, which is a pretty good situation for them. If they can hold this door, which Dungeon Masters are above, and once the zone starts to cover that, they'll be in a really good spot. So we'll see if they choose to focus on that. But in the meantime, Dungeon Masters will ignore the people on the inside, focus on the outside. It's a mutual situation for them, but he's got a great angle, doing what he can with the L-Star, hopping back up as Val can of course do. But again, we've got few places for players to stand, and there's action coming from all directions. Zanya's on the floor now as 5 squads remain.
Is that GMT trying to sneak in from the left? not entirely sure who's trying to push, but All Plan still holding that building.
Yeah.
And it's actually Lasike French that's coming in from the left.
Yeah, there's too many angles for them to hold. With all these doors blown off as well, they may have to concede something. And then things may escalate very quickly if they've got a fight on the inside. How did that barrel get popped?
I have no idea, but 789 did get there. So they do still have 3 of their members up. But looks like GMT just absolutely getting decimated from the entrance of this building. Are they going to be able to survive this onslaught?
Well, the shotguns are coming through, and it seems that the answer is no. There's no more Greenwich Mean Time on the server as we go from 4 to 3. 7 at 9 get popped in quick succession by 2 different teams, I think. I'm not really sure, but No Fear Gaming, the Italians, the Italians, are still here in the last 3. Again, consistent last week. Is this the game for them to win this week?
I hope they can pull something off, but they did leave that team inside from rezzing, and it looks like they might have their full team up now, so they need to push. They needed to push that sooner. All these teams on top, they're right for a crypto ult. Imagine the damage on that crypto ult that they could get off.
That is a very, very small ring for the remaining 2 squads now.
There it is. There's the crypto ult.
Yeah, that's very painful indeed. No Fear Gaming have to be an underdog coming here from Italy. Can they finish off the job? The shotguns are flying in both directions, but we've got some Italians getting dropped now, and Streamy's got so much to do on his own.
Oh, it's just one. It's a 1v1 up here. Dungeon Masters.
He's butt naked as well. He's got no Kevlar whatsoever. Just getting that one cell, and maybe that'll be enough as he cracks the opponent. But we've got shields all over the place, looking for a swap that maybe he can't find. Desperately looking for a swap.
No.
Still finally finds a full purple, and that could be enough now. Going down to the last bullet of the shotgun, going for the switch, and Dungeon Masters will just edge No Fear Gaming for game number 3.
Oh, what a finish. Both team members were on different levels and struggling for shields, and you know what? Lumi just held the high ground and no, you're gonna come to me and I'm gonna finish you off myself. Absolutely beautiful win. What an exciting endgame circle. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was really, really awesome. The tree often is, and it's so awkward in those 1v1s. You know, the high ground is an advantage to a little degree in a situation like that you can just fall back and try and squeeze out a shield cell if you can. Looking for death boxes. They don't have the shields you want in there. So awkward. Even trying to land shots when the opponent's down, teammates are putting their shields up. Like, just nothing's going well. You got the shotgun out, you're landing the shots, but you're getting into that reload territory. Do I reload? Do I fall back? Is he going to push me? Do I go for a shield cell? Do I try and swap? So many things to try and deal with, but indeed, Dungeon Masters, look at that. 15 kills. I think that might be a record for what we've had so far in last week in this one. 15 kills with that first place placement is fantastic.
Oh my god, and they have a total of 27 points from this match. And look at All Plan in 789. Even though All Plan did get 3rd place over 4th place for 789, 789 did have 10 kills, so now they're tied for 3rd place at 15 points. That's nothing to scoff at. I mean, you really need to start considering KP and placement at the same time, because like that you can rack up your points so much more.
Yeah, Dungeon Masters came in like the street sweepers in game number 3. 15 kills. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but I do think that's the most kills we've seen in the game. We've seen a lot of 12s. We saw an 11 from major pushes in the first game. And how about that? We talk about a Jibzilla, but Wraith with 10 kills on the board is huge and far away ahead of the other teammates as well. That is a massive overperformance.
Yeah, but you can't remember, Lumi was the last one to secure the win for the team. So just because you didn't have all the kills doesn't mean you're not doing your work. And it looks like all their damage is pretty equal across the board. So you know that they were all playing together and their teamwork was tightly knit. So congratulations to y'all. Y'all did a great job.
Yeah, for that Wraith performance, I think in Russian you would say Oishin Kruto. Kate, what did you think about that performance?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I appreciate the multilingual aspect of this match. That is something that you absolutely bring to the table, James. Thank you very much. But I want to real quick talk, because I get the opportunity, like so many of our viewers here, to watch games 1 through 3. You guys are in the thick of it and you've been doing such an incredible job. But I want to talk about some key themes here. And one of them you just touched on. It's got to be Gibby. Is there, and this is my question to you, so let's start with you. Is there a way to combat a Gibby player who is not just incredible at the defense, obviously, but as we saw in major pushers, 22,000 more damage in that game number 1. How do you go against that? Because as we've seen in the first 3 games, Gibby is in the winner's circle every single time.
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I know that crypto play has been really good against Gibby, so something like that has to be put into play. I mean, crypto gives you so much more information, and the fact that his ult can stun Gibby from bringing down his shield, really, really important there. You need to time that correctly, though, and focusing different team members, making sure that you target that Gibby before rushing a team is so important, because they don't have the dome to play then. So you just need to target them first. I don't know what else to say. I mean, James, do you have any other ideas?
I think that the importance of position becomes even more apparent when you're going up against a Gibby, because if you have some kind of if you have an overhead environment, be it rocks which are sticking out to a reasonable level, there are some fiendish ones around the map, or obviously a building, then you're gonna make it harder to, you're not gonna be exposed to that bombardment, because when you've got nowhere to go, when in an ideal world, you choose when you take a fight. But if it's not up to you and you're out in the open and a bombardment comes through, then you're in a lot of trouble.
You are indeed. And actually that translates right into, as we take a look at some of these highlights from that game, let's talk a little bit about that positioning, James, because I think you nailed it. We saw in game number 2, and we'll sure see them later on here, but Ari Dragon came in 7 kills despite landing in what basically was the final circle, right? We're talking about a team that really just had to defend themselves, but they still got those 7 kills. That's an incredible thing. And as we see GMT here on the screen, James, I want to talk real quick about that positioning. As I mentioned, we've also seen a lot of Valk plays, I should say, Valk ults. When you put them together, they're bulk. That doesn't make any sense. At any rate, let's talk a little bit about some of those final circle Valk plays that really did turn the tides.
Yeah, we saw some crazy Valk plays where people are getting cracked before they even take off. People are getting knocked on landing or even before they land. So there's a lot of risk. And when you're going for a place like the tree, you're trying to land and be like, oh, I'll just sit behind. If someone's already got that idea and you're getting targeted by people who have a door open as well, it can get you in a lot of trouble. But on a subject of position, which we spoke about earlier, if you get into a good spot early with position, one thing you may be thinking about is getting some KP as well. And let's not forget, we had that failed attempt at a kidnap from a Wraith earlier on, which ended up in that team getting wiped and losing the building entirely. And this is it right here. So this is where you've got position, but you're a little bit too thirsty, and then things just go real wrong real fast.
Real wrong, real fast. And hey, while we take a look at these final highlights here for that game number 3, I want to give a shout out to 789. Last week, we saw them being contested from the drop. 3, unfortunately, 3 20th place outs. This game, they came in and said, guess what? We are better than this. We know our potential, and we're going to showcase that. And Stella, they have been one of the most consistent teams alongside the likes of Kungarna, alongside the solo Q-Gives that I have seen for the last 3 games, and it's brilliant to watch them reach a lot of their potential.
Yeah, it's been so great to watch all these different teams just kind of rise up. Like Zeta Gaming is doing a fantastic job today too. And it makes it so hard to make predictions, Kate. I'm just like, well, I want to vote for everyone, but I can't. But all of these teams are fantastic. And it just reminds us of why we are watching them in Pro League, why they got here, and they deserve to be here.
Oh, that's a great way to put it, James. Let's talk about Dungeon Masters. They had a great week number 1, day number 1 in their first groups, and this is pretty good. They are really catapulting 13 places here to number 1. And again, we've only gotten to 3 games, but a hefty lead they've got going. Not out of the woods, but pretty good.
Yeah, they're just racing up the leaderboard like they dropped a hot album. And especially following up from the previous week, I think to get an early result like this, game 3 today, I guess it's halfway through, it's a huge result for them, and I think take it 1 game at a time, but over the long term, just keep up this consistency, getting these results, and they'll be in the right part of that leaderboard for sure.
Absolutely. Now, as we go into, we're in the shank of the matches here. We go to 6. We've just done 3. We're coming into 4. Stella, do you anticipate any teams changing up that all-important team comp? Maybe seeing what the tea leaves say and going, let's see what we can do with different legends.
I don't think think so. I feel like it's working pretty well for them. I do think that maybe teams have to be a little bit more careful about Valk ults, especially depending on the circle. I mean, tree circle, it's a little risky since everyone's already established in different buildings. I mean, I love that Solo Q Goats showed us the importance of positioning with Valk ults, how sometimes it works, sometimes it might not. And we'll just see. I think that the compositions work, though. I think just based off of how they've been playing, they know what characters work for them. Loba has been great in these high-tier matches, which is so fun to watch, by the way. I'm so happy that we see Lobas in these high-tier matches. We see Loba works, we see Crypto work, especially since so many people are stacked in one building. The damage that you can get and the stuns that you can get on all those teams, ooh, chef's kiss. Beautiful. Lovely.
Beautiful. Lovely. And you can't forget those stinky caustic plays, especially when they are trapped in buildings, and it's just so much fun to watch. I'm sure it's a nightmare.
Hey,
as a
Kate,
player
I'm
to
pretty
be in.
sure that's perfume, okay?
Okay.
Perfume in those barrels,
Like,
all
it's
right?
roses, James, right?
Absolutely,
Roses.
Yeah. Can we
I was
just
gonna say it's more
can
like
we just have some
Axe,
respect for the caustics, please? Yeah. I'm looking at you,
You're
Vicky.
absolutely
I know you're watching.
I know. Vicky is definitely watching for sure. Well, hey, you know, we're watching and we're watching you and your tweets and everything you've been talking to us. We want to make sure you're a part of the action too. So make sure to follow us at Play Apex Esports on the tweeters. You see it there, at Play Apex Esports on YouTube and at Play Apex on Twitch. We are everywhere you want to be, and we want you to be a part of this. So make sure you tweet at us. Tell us which team comp you're looking forward to, which team you think is going to take it all here for our EMEA region. My dog is telling you some things, and she's very excited about what's happening next. And so that means it's about time. We're going to take a nice little break, and on the way back, we'll come into game number 4. See you in a second.
Lenovo Legion. Gaming PCs that are stylish on the outside and savage on the inside. Lenovo Legion is the official PC and monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back, you lovely people. We are halfway through our day within the EMEA region, and Dungeon Masters are leading the way in first place with an overall 35 points. It's getting fired up in here, Tom, and I'm excited to see what some of our squads do to adjust now that we're already halfway through the show.
One could say it's going down in the DMs. Is that your man? I don't want to be him because I would not want to lose that 1v1. Can I just point out it was the battle of the eyes. Streamy against Lumi. Lumi taking him down in the 1v1 at the tail end of the game. The problem is there when you're playing Crypto, you're always going to be last to the fight in those situations. But the big deal was having to clamor up. And then that armor swap from Lumi, the shots, just so awesome to see. Back on board with all planned. We'll see what's in store for game number 4. We haven't had a repeat winner in EMEA. We're on day number 3, and we still haven't seen one team win 2 games out of 6. I can't wait to see what happens here.
It really highlights here the high-level competition we have within this region. It's basically up for grabs for a lot of these squads, but when you talk about consistency, I'm talking about Dungeon Masters, and I'm talking about the way that they've been performing ever since last weekend. Now taking a look at where the circle's going to be pulling, Tom, we got the Geyser Circle actually looking like it's going to be pulling towards that front area of Lava City, which is going to be absolute chaos if it does pull towards that open field that we see a lot of these squads scramble for in terms of taking some of those buildings in Lava City.
Big Mod definitely going to be a spot of contention. Lava City going to be a spot of contention as well. Can't wait to see exactly where this zone is going to be. Is it going to be over towards that respawn area inside the eggshells? Maybe. Meanwhile, Solo Kugyotes, we know what they do. They're going over towards Trials. 2 teams over towards Skyhook. The big question is, are they, ooh, no gold? Just purple for now. That's that. We'll take that.
Yeah, robbery. Hold on. I worked for that. Anyways, we'll see what the next one opens up for our squads. But 2 purples, we absolutely will take that, especially as we are going to be fighting for our lives in trials. Going to be able to get that. Yeah, you know, that comes in the third then. That opens up here. And we talk about a little of these beacons and how important it is. Well, that's why you have the dome coming out, so that way they could scan that beacon safely. And they want to know where they want to be rotating to, especially being in No Name. You have a lot of action coming out either from Overlook or from Fragment.
And remember, DM was really a strong competitor in week number 1. I believe they came through with about 53 points, maybe 54. So they're already coming through swinging. I mean, 27 points in game number 3 is absolutely phenomenal. Na'Vi, a team that we really had high expectations for today, landing over towards this Overlook side. They have not gotten their feet underneath them quite yet. Lycée de France, not on the same page at the end of the last game. You saw that, Vicky, where it was a little bit of a late portal. I mean, Joke had a good portal, but it was a little bit staggered. Lager comes through, and then they ended up getting knocked when it was all said and done. Could have been a big game for them, but look at this. Taking a look at where Rebel is, they have a great opportunity to loot up and possibly go over towards Big Mod. The question is, are they going to stay in Lava City, or are they going to rotate on over where that scan had happened? Remains to be seen.
Yeah, I really like the way that you brought up Dungeon Masters and the way that they performed just last week, because not only did they finish with 53 points, but I believe they were the highest placing team in Group B by 2 points over major pushers. So just by those 2 points, they were that leading team in Group B. So that's why this was a squad that I wanted to look at too going into some of these games. The Zeta division, they're already making the rotations. They are going to be able to get some scans on their way. And this is where I was expecting a lot of these squads to already try to fight for, because not only is there a beacon there, Tom, but they're also tracking the fact that there's another squad taking a Valk ult landing here.
No doubt about it. And you could coexist over towards Big Mod. There could be multiple teams on over here. You could see so many different layers, a lot of area to go and work with. This is the first team to go and rotate through. They had the scan over towards the Geyser side. One of the fastest rotations coming through as well, especially when you go and get that Valkyrie redeploy. And they're going to lock down the back trailer area. And there's going to be plenty of teams that are going to be trying to do that same strategy. Dead Inside hitting up some loot. As you can see, that coexistion over towards the Big Mod side. You can also see Taskmaster popping down that black market. You're just going to soak up all the loot.
I love the fact that we've been seeing so many Loba compositions within the EMEA region. Of course, Zeta Division being one of those squads, really bringing that out and working it into their advantage because of exactly that. I was expecting them to steal something from one of those guns that are one of the options that we have when it comes to ramparts. But Gambit Esports have other plans. They're not only securing this building, but they're just trying to get some intel over where some of these squads are going to be rotating to eventually, especially since they look pretty looted up. You saw the longbow in the hands of Artico, and of course you see Gambit currently holding onto this building. They have the Volt too, so they have some tools, and they may want to use their redeploy soon because it looks like it's getting hot over there by ramparts.
We've seen redeploys be kind of timed well and not timed well, but all of these players are going to now start trying to make their way on over towards Lava City. Gambit, they're trying to play this long game. I think that they're going to continue to play edge. If they were going to Valkyrie rotate, they would have did it a while ago, but there's one free building coming in for clean. Also, when you have that caustic on G Dolphin, you're going to be feeling good. They won a game, so let's see what they're going to be able to do here. They took game number 3 that you just saw, so I can't wait to see, or excuse me, they took game 3, and now we're going to be able to see what they're going to be able to do on over here. G-Dolphin is just so smart when it comes to these zones that it's going to be tough to go and rotate in if you're not playing Valkyrie.
Yeah, G-Dolphin, of course, being able to have a lot of that strategy under his belt here, but being able to get some beams, especially on a white Evo shield, is Gambit Esports, who have slowly rotated their way in this direction. Very similarly to what you were talking about earlier, Tom, where Gambit, they don't want to try to overextend here. They want to make sure that they can get a lot more done in this game. And No Fear Gaming showing no fear, putting down the dome to close in that space, but taking too much pressure. They need to back off here. And now the third party can be rotating in any time here, and they do get a knock, but it's not going to be enough when both of your teammates are down. And of course, Kerry Rubik not only had the purple Evo shield, but he still had health to work with.
Yeah, Redragon coming in like the Karate Kid right there. No fear in this dojo, unfortunately. I misspoke. I meant Clean won game number 2. They were eliminated early in game number 3 as along with Solo Q Goats, and that's why you saw that big flip-flop on the leaderboard, or the billboard. The top 100, as James would say, is now Gambit looking like they're ready for a skirmish.
It's so important here, too. You saw the portal now made on top there. Gambit Esports just getting out of that situation. Again, I love this positioning. They have the Evo shields, they have the tools to work with, but the EVA 8 looking like it's a little low in terms of ammunition. Hardeki just trying to get a kind of angle here after getting that break with the Arcstar, but you have to note here, there's a reason why they're not trying to overextend. They note that there's a squad all the way on the other side that could just third party them.
Exactly, and you can see good grenades coming in, but it doesn't really mean much. Is another knock going to happen over towards the side? That's going to be Rugby getting dropped, but it's answered right back, and the res is right there. While the bubble is there as well, you can see defensive bombardment is in hand if they want to go and use that one, but if it's not going to be thrown, that means that they're feeling quite safe throughout this situation. Nice, clean squad wipe there, as Nasky actually gets dropped in the kill feed as well, so GMT not having the start that they were looking for.
Not going according to plan, but Maestro Gaming are taking their times and rotating towards the circle. We've already noted that a lot of squads have already taken that last circle potential position because they don't want to try to get contested here. We talk about the risk that the Valkyrie redeploy brings, and it's going to happen as more squads make their way over here. They want to make sure that they can get the beacon so that way they know whether they need to make that rotation over to lava or not.
Exactly, and I'm surprised that nobody is really going on over and continuing to contest on over where Cat Boys are. And the thing is when you're rocking crypto, you're feeling so good about hitting these scans, Vicky, because you just do the drive-by. Meanwhile, Hardeki's finishing off what they started for Gambit. That's going to be 789. Lever, first one to drop and flushed out as well.
And what you love to see here too, Tom, is the fact that you don't have to overextend with the crypto too. You see these squads now having to get out of this position because they were sandwiching Gambit Esports. They knew that. That's why they didn't push in here in the first place. Now they've secured this position, and now they have a great look at some of the other squads that are going to be rotating over towards them from Lava Siphon, potentially through Fragment. It's all about holding this position.
And does anybody need any loot? Because you have that black market right there. So look, you go. It's going for another redeploy. We saw a risky redeploy in game number 2 that actually worked out for them. We know that, I believe, Team Clean is in the vicinity as well. So it could be a coexist over here for Solo Q Goats. Diff tossing some nice barrels on over here. They're going to be A-okay for now.
For now, though, that's the key here. Having a Caustic, being able to secure these buildings is what's key here. And it looks like right now, with some of their squads already noting where that next circle is going to pull, that they've made their move towards Lava City. And this is what I was talking about with the compositions that we've been seeing. Of course, the Caustic being as important as being able to secure that last building for the last circle is so important, because then you don't want to be caught off guard in the open field, or you're going to feel susceptible to Rebel here, having the Sentinel already, taking the high ground. And this is a great position for this squad.
Longest team in Apex history, together for 3 years, previously Flavor of the Month. Looking forward to seeing what Rebel is going to be able to do. This is typical here. It's going to be a slow start. Everyone's going to start to coexist inside Lava City. A lot of teams on the edge will be forced to fight in zone number 3, zone number 4. So excited when we get to that part. But either for now, you want to have some sort of long range, and that's exactly what Pia has with the Sentinel. Sentinel just so strong if you hit your shots.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's nice to know, of course, that we do have that Bloodhound on that composition. To no surprise, of course, Rebel is that squad that feels comfortable running that Bloodhound Wraith composition since the very start. Meanwhile, Cat Boys are in some trouble, and they're going to be taking some cover, utilizing the natural terrain here. Currently see them trying to put down some pings, but they know that there's another squad right behind this squad that's trying to contest them, so that squad isn't going to try to push them here to risk that.
Interested to see when you go into your drone form here. You do not want to be caught up over towards the side. We have a listen and know with the Cat Boys. Let's see if they're going to where they were at it.
I'm low.
I don't want to use nades for this.
It's 2 teams now?
It might be another team here, guys. Watch out.
They have no
Listen,
back house.
listen. I have no bats anymore. No bats anymore.
Yeah.
No, take this one. If you have a space, instantly.
Yeah,
Take it instantly.
yeah. Do it. Took it.
1-4. 1-4.
I'm 9-1. 9-1. No medkits.
16-0. No medkits either.
How many cells you said, Limek?
16. 15.
Can you drop me 4 instantly? 4.
I'm kind of scared dropping one.
But I take it instantly, man.
Come. I will take. I'll give you 3.
Oh.
He's picking A. Two picking left.
Yeah. Guys, listen at me now. If circle go lava city, and the second floor there is free.
Scout the floor. Yeah.
They're right here, by the way.
You have to explain really well which floor, okay?
They have heading. I cannot pick them.
It's the first balcony. You know, the balcony in the middle of the building. There is 2 balconies, okay? The balcony below, and the room is free.
Which one?
Okay.
This team is picking, by the way, on the left. Okay.
You know what I mean, Limek?
Yeah, I know. I heard you.
Where balcony or second? From the bottom. Counting from the bottom.
Look, from the bottom is the first balcony. The room, the first balcony.
Okay,
You know,
I know what you mean. Yes.
The first balcony, that room. But I think we go, man, because I don't have drone to scan the zone, man. Well, wait a bit. Let's secure it.
I think we wait, guys. I think we wait.
Yeah. Wait for my drone. I mean, it's still going there. Oh, yeah. Got to not use the drone there.
Ramp, it's a really good head glitch.
Do you have drone now?
No. I'm having now in 5 seconds.
They're picking. Let me coach out.
We're fine. Fuck it. We're fine.
Nice. We're still good here.
Now people will fight in the...
You love to see it right here. You see exactly why this squad is running crypto. The comms and the intel is so important because they noted exactly which floor of this building was free for them to take. And of course, at the same time, while trying to suppress a team that's trying to pressure them out of that building. That is so important here because now you see exactly why the crypto has been utilized, aside from the fact that you don't have to overextend to get these beacons.
It's so nice to gather that info. They get the scan, just like you said. They even had another plan if it pulled away from Big Mod. Meanwhile, Solo Q Goats off screen, picked up a couple of kills on Congarna. I don't believe all the players from Congarna were eliminated, but just great communication coming out right there. I loved everything about that crypto drone.
It's so important. I honestly, just being able to also have that in the back of their mind, just knowing that they're planning just 10 steps ahead. Meanwhile, you were talking about Congarna, and you're exactly seeing what you were talking about here, Tom. We were seeing that Graceful is in trouble, and now Graceful is going to have to find an angle, avoid this bombardment, and is going to be able to avoid that from Shiv, who's probably holding that high ground.
Shiv not giving up on Graceful quite yet. He's trying to sniff him out and find out exactly where this member is going to be. He's trying to play as low-key as possible as we take a look at these teams inside Lava City that eventually will have to rotate. I believe this will continue to pull over towards Big Mod. We'll end exactly on that, or we'll be a little bit out in the open. We'll see. Catboy's definitely feeling good about their position, and they're going to be able to continually scan every single beacon there.
This is such a tough position. I'm not too sure if Graceful has heals or if Graceful just doesn't want to heal right now to let them know where their position is, which is absolutely the move here with another squad rotating on that outer position. Meanwhile, Gambit Esports has not moved from this position, and they're not struggling right now, just minus the ammunition that I'm taking a look at. That longbow just having 25 bullets in total. Artico now is going to be able to hold back this squad that is rotating from Lava Siphon, and kind of what we were expecting earlier as to why they wanted to hold this position for so long.
They're looking for kill opportunities. I love this play style coming in from Gambit. They land over towards Lava Siphon. They made their way over towards that no-name area across from the ditch. And now they're locking down this high ground where Lucite de France is going to have to deal with them.
They're on that low ground here. Nice to note. They do have the portal just in case, but GMT, they seem to be in some trouble here. They do get the crack, the caustic traps, and these arc stars and thermites are just absolutely too lethal. What do you do in this situation? Only Wraith can get out of here, but you don't want to face a whole another squad that's holding the high ground.
Yeah, queuing out of there, but you've already lost Nasky, but Dolly's down on the ground as well. Nasky's been dropped a couple of times in this game, and there it is. GMT going out in 17th spot. Na'Vi, they're going to take control of the bottom floor.
They're gonna love that, and they're gonna know, of course, that there is a squad right above them. There's another squad on top of that squad, and Na'Vi is gonna rotate out of here, and they're gonna take the train. I like this position here. They also have the redeploy just in case, but they were also able to loot on their way out, which is what we were noting before. As Na'Vi, they looked like they were a little grim when it came to some of their utility here at the beginning part of the game.
Looks like a little bit of this roof, a sliver, is going to be in, as well as the roof that's next to them. Train station, definitely one of the priority buildings to lock down, though, if you're not over towards Big Mod. And Na'Vi having one of their strongest performances so far, but there's still a lot left in this game with 16 squads remaining.
See Rebel also holding that high ground too, just looking at all the chaos going down. Some other squads, of course, also holding down to the dome off to the left here. 7, 8, 9. Looking like they may have a rat just stuck over there without even being able to charge their shields because there's another squad right in front of them.
Yeah, Maestro coexisting right there with 7, 8, 9 on the opposite side of the eggshell. Major pushers locking down. You can see great portal coming in from the cave towards the outside bottom of this building. And that's what I love about competitive Apex. You would never think, hey, we could take this little sliver and make something out of on the outside of the building. That's just how good these players are, working with absolutely nothing. But holy cow, talk about Big Mod, talk about big trouble happening soon. This is going to be absolutely explosive.
This is actually why you saw it, the Catboys, they didn't really want to rotate right now after noting where the next circle was going to pull, and this is such a strong position to keep holding, because again, the beacon's right there, but when you have top dogs basically hugging the beacon, already setting up these caustic traps, they'll have no issue shooting down that crypto drone once it comes out to try to get the beacon scan.
It's just a friendly hug. He's not going to get rid of the crypto drone or anything like that. He's just going to, bear hug it and squeeze it until it explodes.
Just get that out of here. Want no business with that. Of course, all with love, right? And then, meanwhile, Les de France, they're going to be trying to take this more slow approach to trying to scout out what's happening right here by the eggshell that we were noting after we also saw that there was a rat from 789 off to the side.
And in your ranked games at this point, a team like Les de France, they're going to go and try to Valkyrie redeploy. Maybe even here in the tournament, too, because they scouted out and they can't decide where that is. But this is a tough rotation. I mean, pings are going down. At this point, with so many teams over in this area at Lava City, this is a risky play. It looks like they're going to try to coexist with Na'Vi over towards the train side.
Oh, this is so risky. Are they going to actually land? They're going to try to go for a balcony, perhaps, but they don't know if any of these floors are clear just yet. It's not like they're the ones with the crypto, and they've lost a teammate that's on the low ground. Can they save them with the portal? I'm wondering right here, Tom. I'm not too sure. Lagger goes down, and it wasn't fast enough, but the portal does help them out with that insurance to guarantee that they can at least resin.
That's two players down, though.
Oh,
that's two players from Les de France down just because Lag decides that he could not land on that balcony. Unfortunate situation right there. Major pushers also having to do something. They're going to take that portal as well. Is this going to work out? It's two players down, one knockdown shield. Grant's just trying to do whatever he can. Cleve is getting back into this game as well. What a play. They're going to go and take that portal and potentially take out Les de France, and they do. What a great play.
I love the follow-ups right there, too. Holding the door back so that way there's nowhere for them to run. Just let your teammates funnel them through, finish off the deed. I love this, but look how many squads right now are hugging this building, Tom.
Possible kidnap. Rebel coming through. They put the player into the portal as well, and the knock into the air. Amazing, amazing kidnap. Glad we caught that one.
Oh, we've seen 2 failed kidnaps. We see a successful one. It all evens out. The math checks out here, Tom. We see it work out here for Rebel, and they also have this high ground. You love to see it, but now we're going to take the portal back. Oh, that was a really risky play. I don't think they're going to be coming out of that one, as they will be on the high ground, and they don't really know where that portal is going to lead them to.
Hello, Governor. That was a little scary right there. I was a little shaken if I'm Taylor, but look at the zone pull here, Vicky. It goes away from Big Mod. We had like half of the teams in the lobby over there. So now it's going to pull over towards where Na'Vi is onto this train station. Hard pull over towards Lava City. Chaos in 8 seconds is about to occur.
I really enjoy watching Rebel play here. The Valk, right in front of them. Oh, the risky plays. I know we keep talking about it, but it's so risky. At this point of time, there's still 13 squads alive, and everybody is moving to the air like they're fireworks.
Everybody get to the roof first. Valk up there, most likely going to be the last Valk up there. And there it is, Maestro Gaming taking the angles. Such a big fight. Good bubble as well. Will they see more Valkyries? You can see Caustic Gas coming out. Baron as well, taking control of this roof is a big brain play. Maestro is going to get it with some loot to boot.
The barrel just bombarding right there, ricocheting off of the body. Meanwhile, Zeta Division, they have the dome out. They're looking like they're in some trouble with Taskmaster losing their shield and only relying on these shield cells, not having the shield battery really to get back into these fights faster. And look how quickly they were to disengage. They noticed the threat and they just immediately held shoulder to shoulder just to stay in this room.
Somehow Gambit playing the eggshell area is still alive, pushing up, getting kills along the way. Actually, Hardeki is going to be the first one to drop. That's not a good sign for Gambit fans. And Maestro locking down the roof like we talked about is such an important play. Look at where the zone is. Look at how much area they can own until they actually have to drop off. You do have the defensive bombardment. You most likely have the Nox gas grenade for Ron as well. No need for Valkyrie here at the end of the game. Just need to make sure that you're laying down those missile barrages. They use that Valk ult perfectly. Nice redeploy onto the roof here.
Perfect timing too. They could also utilize these barrels as some makeshift cover, but I'm also noting here that the really only way that Maestro Gaming could get off of this high ground is with a bombardment. But even then, they have Senya right there with the dome to help them with some protection, and it's going to be difficult here unless another squad could boot them off of this high ground.
Still looking for a repeat winner here in EMEA. It was Major Pushers with game number 1. Clean wins game number 2, and then we saw DM win game number 3 with 27 points. They're sitting in first overall. Taking a look at the teams in this one. It's Rats, it's Cats, it's Na'Vi, Gambit, Zeta, and Maestro.
A lot of these squads, I've already seen them before, just put in so much work. Maestro Gaming having the superior positioning, hearing all the chaos go down. It's Gambit Esports who are on the low ground, trying to see who else is inside this train station without trying to overcommit too much.
Problem is, with no cost secure, you're not able to stop people coming from out that door. Yes, they have the positioning. All the teams, though, will start to filter on top of them. So Gambit, I'm not quite sure what they're going to be able to do in that type of situation. Great job fighting to get to this point. Na'Vi predicted this zone extremely early. They've been locking down the train station. Not only that, picking up kills along the way, fending off so many different teams that are trying to take their spot. Now you see what Rats are doing. They're stuck inside of the train tracks, trying to make their way forward. Do you have a portal there for Mania? If you want to go and use that one a little bit later, could be a possible portal into the bubble play.
It's so intense here too, with a lot of these squads just turning up their aggression. We're in game 4 right now, Tom, and the circle is closing in on our squads. Currently, Maestro Gaming are still holding on to this high ground. They're not going to be contested. No Valks could really do much here. You're just staring at a lot of these other squads that are playing shoulder to shoulder, double Gibby Dome coming down.
Yep, that's going to be Gambit on the opposite side of the door like we were talking about. Zeta's trying to push through, but they had to back off. Zone continuing to close. They may do a late rotation outside the dome to swoop around the backhand side, but sitting pretty at the very top. Early bubble, though, from Maestro Gaming. Hopefully that's going to come back in time when they need to drop.
Would be absolutely insane here if we see Rug utilize the redeploy and just stall out the inevitable as the circle closes in from right behind them. They don't want to give up this high ground with another squad still holding onto the high ground right above the train station. You can see as they're just waiting for this opportunity, the bombardment coming down. They don't want to utilize the dome just yet. They want to save it for this last circle. Look how many takes of damage we're currently seeing Rugby be able to take. They're dropping down now, Tom. This is all or nothing. The Gothic gas traps have been utilized here. The EVA 8 landing their shots. Maestro Gaming, they may just have this in the bag if they don't get taken out by the circle, and they do manage to clutch it out. It's all about that positioning. Being on the high ground really allows you to elevate your gameplay and to know whatever is happening right below you.
Third place in game number 1. Game number 2 eliminated first as the zone pulled on over them towards the staging side. But game number 4 is all theirs. Just like you said, Vicky, it's all about that positioning. The Valkyrie redeploy, the fight on top of the roof over towards the train station, and then just playing it disciplined towards the very end. Big game for Maestro.
Absolutely huge. I love the bombardment that came down too. That could have helped push them off, but you saw that they didn't even feel pressured enough to throw that in the dome on the high ground. They knew it was at stake. They wanted to wait until they dropped to utilize that, especially when you're dealing with so many other caustics. Amazing gameplay from Maestro Gaming, and with 10 kills in their pocket, they're going to secure that win, and they're going to end up with 22 points in game 4.
It's a big game. Also a big game for Na'Vi, who did a great job predicting over towards that train station area. We thought it was pulling over towards Big Mod. We saw teams like Catboys rocking that crypto, continuing hitting those scans over and over again. But there was plans on top of plans on top of plans. You could hear it in the communication from the teams. What a game number 4.
And you talk about how a lot of these squads haven't been able to win more than these 1 games. We've been having a different winner each and every single one of these games. We had Major Pushers game 1, we had Clean game 2, we had Dungeons Masters game 3, and now Maestro Gaming, they're putting their name on the board, taking game 4 with 2 games left, Tom. What can these squads do differently here to either maintain that lead or to try to clutch out another win?
Timing, right? It's all about the timing of these Valkyrie ults, but not just that. It doesn't rely just on the Valkyrie. It's all about the bubbles. Whatever legend you're playing, you have to utilize that. The utility, the teamwork, the decision making. Everybody is so close in terms of their shots. It really just comes down to the strategy.
And I love to see how a lot of these teams have been utilizing their synergy with the crypto comms that we heard in earlier on. And we're going to take a look at the champion squad and what they've been able to do. Look how much damage here. Sonya having 5 kills, over 1,600 damage already. Pretty consistent across the board with this squad.
It's been a theme, watching these Gibbies really start to pop off. A lot of times you are going to be rocking a long-range weapon when you are playing Gibby 2, which kind of helps increase that damage, helps get that Evo shield up. But like you said, we have not had a repeat winner yet, and I can't wait to see who's really going to step it up, because the closest team to winning in that game was Major Pushers, and they were in 8th place in terms of trying to get that repeat performance.
You see right now the overall score. Dungeon Masters are still leading the way though, but they're tied in first place with Maestro Gaming, moving up 11 spots after that win, Tom.
I think Maestro is really going to be confident now going forward because of the fact that they played game number 1 really well. Game number 2, if they would have just been more disciplined over towards the Dorito building, they could be absolutely zooming and zooming right now, but this leaderboard is looking close.
I love to see it, and this is the type of competition that I was expecting going into the day 2, and now I could only expect things to get even crazier as we move on to our final 2 games.
And looking at over towards Rats and Cats, they were there in that game, but unfortunately not able to pick up tons of points. With that pull away from Big Mod, it made things just a little bit more difficult. We see that fairly often right now, where the zones, typically back in the day, they would continue to pull over towards one side. Now we start to get that one random bounce right there, and that just created all chaos over towards the middle of Lava City.
And it's great to see how a lot of these squads are able to try to adjust around a lot of these Valk rotations. Of course, the redeploy being so important with the compositions that we've been seeing across the region. But you know what? It's not over just yet. Once again, like I said, Tom, there's still 2 more games underway. And when we come back from this break, guys, we're going to be bringing you guys game number 5.
PGL is the official broadcast partner of the Apex Legends Global Series NA and EMEA Pro League.
We find ourselves at the helm of Game 5 with 2 more games of action ahead of us. We have had a lot of slaughtering, especially by the teams who won. Just clean being shy. They had 5 kills when they came to the victory, but every other team has got 10 or more kills so far. Still looking for a potential victory from the likes of Gambit. You know, we have to have eyes on them, obviously. Do you think they've got it in them to win one of these 2 last games, Stella?
I absolutely think so. I mean, they've been moving up slowly, and they did have a good match last time. I think they were 4th or 5th place. So they've been getting pretty early or pretty high placements. It's just the first 2 games weren't their games. But we do see a lot of teams pushing it up, and we see a lot more survivability as we get into these last circles. Like, I believe the last circle here had 6 squads in the final circle. So you see people struggling and wanting to stay alive longer as opposed to just running in and being bloodthirsty. So yeah, I don't know. Also, Gambit is tied with Navi and Solo Q at 21 points right now. So they could do it. They just need to have some really good games.
I think when the Solo Q Goats had their best placement, they went up like 13 places or something. So
that's right.
It doesn't necessarily look as bad as, you know, on the leaderboard, as long as you can get that all-important result. So we'll see who's able to get that next. I did really appreciate the listening we had with the Cat Boys, especially looking at the makeup of the team. They've got an Iraqi, a Spanish player, and a Polish player on their team. And you can see, in terms of like having a team who have to come in what I would call international English, I feel like if it's not your first language, then it just slows down the comms. But if everybody has like a different branch of international English, you can see how long it took for them to just clarify which floor of a building they were talking about with the recon they were doing. So that was really, really cool. Although I'd love to find out how they got together and also how they got their name Catboys. Whose suggestion that was. But I was impressed with what they were doing in Big Mord earlier on.
Yeah, their communication skills were great. I mean, I know there is a language barrier, but I mean, the way that they were able to communicate so well, the way that they were able to coordinate and make sure that everyone understood what someone else was saying, I love that so much. Also, their accents are pretty great.
Absolutely, yeah, I would agree with that. We are dropping. We'll see if there are any early flights, and of course, there will be Valkyries on deck. Man, there was a situation last game where we saw multiple brazen Valkyries.
Oh my god.
No domes, nothing, just out in the open, getting shot with snipers and so on. It's getting riskier and riskier.
Yeah, so actually, you bring up a good point. I wrote this down. I believe it was Maestro who ended up winning that Valkyrie rooftop fight because they pulled out their Jibby shield early on. So basically, whoever has the Gibraltar on their team and can get that shield off first, they win that match right there for in terms of Valkyrie fights.
Yeah, that space to breathe, and we can see where the early rings are going towards the Giza, as I like to call it, being from the UK. Once again, no, we call them geysers as well. I'm just an idiot. But there's a fair few buildings there to play around. But of course, as that ring gets smaller, it'll become more and more interesting to see who's going to be left compromised, trying to rotate into a better situation.
Yeah, and honestly, as these matches go on, we see so many more teams surviving towards Circle 4, 5, and the final ones. So we might see more clustered fights. That's been the day's theme. Just a lot of clustered fights with many teams surrounding one building.
Pretty good start as far as armor is concerned from Solo Q Goats, but that is what you would expect as they are doing the trials once again.
Yeah,
I think they'll be a bit frustrated with some of the results that they've had. Although I think that second placement they got was kind of exceptional in some of the razor thin situations they had. But I'm sure they'll be looking for more in the remaining 2 games they've got now.
Yeah, I think they're doing okay. Again, they are tied at, I believe, around 12th or 13th place with Navi and Gambit. So these next 2 games really matter for them in order to move up or secure their spot at where they are. So I don't know. I mean, they have 2 gold shields now. They might be okay on loot now, so they might be looking for a fight here, trying to get some more KP.
Saw that portrait of Diff a second ago. He looks like a really nice guy. I think I'm going to sub to him after this because he looks like he deserves it. You know, he's like he's the kind of guy who will mow your lawn if you take a gap year or something. You know.
Oh, okay. That's a really nice thing to say.
Yeah, you got to respect that, man.
Absolutely.
Give nice people nice things. That's what I say.
Okay. Yes. Good behavior should be rewarded.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Ooh, 789 not doing so well on shields here, and they're going into the Lava Fissure, and they're not doing so. Oh, Lava Siphon. I'm sorry, they're not doing very well here with shields, and they're getting shot at. So that's not great.
They're as grey as the average day in London, and they don't really have much position. They were trying to press W, but they have to press S and go backwards instead.
Oh, no.
So yeah, they've got a problem to solve here, and they need to solve it quickly. They don't really have much cover. They found a down player, so maybe it's an opportunity for them. But they're getting peppered as well. That Loba might not last long. We spoke about the teleports earlier on, and we're going to see one now.
Look at that. And yeah, 789 hurting, not doing so well, probably low on resources, but they are going to get the res up since Zeta doesn't want to push that. They have the high ground. They have no reason to push. So they're going to stay safe for now, but it looks like they are running low on resources. I don't know what they're going to do here. They need to get out and reposition.
Yeah, this is a horrible start for them, and they were no strangers to pressured starts at the very least last week, and this looks like they're back in that territory again. Where do they go from here? And perhaps part of the reason they weren't completely faced is other teams compromising their position and then being thirded under that bridge. Not much cover there, not where you want to be, really.
Yeah, that's a rough position under the bridge. And it's really easy to get stuck there. And it looks like there are several teams in this area. So Zeta just holding still to their building. It looks like Navi is trying to reposition. And GMT getting into a fight just outside of it. And going towards, I think, Harvester here, yeah. In that little tunnel.
Oh, that caustic barrel is putting in work here. And there's no time to shield up when you can't breathe. Got to fall back. Very awkward position for Maestro Gaming, and there's just nowhere for the Valk to get the shield up. First getting just eating the gas, and then just got to try and find cover by the truck, but they will get deleted, and it looks like a very brutal, cold world here early on in game number 5.
Unfortunate end to Maestro in this game, but it looks like GMT is doing pretty well. They have this loot now, but they are watching for that other team that was cross-shooting. So they are trying to get into a position, but they know that they're in a pretty open area and have to be careful. Oh, but they do have a crypto, so they could use this intel to move in carefully.
Medkit here.
Yeah, I think they're doing fine on resources, James. It looks like they're doing all right. I mean, they are taking a little bit of peppering here, but I think because of who they have a Wraith who can get away, do some scouting, they have crypto with this drone. I think they should be fine, and they can even hold this spot a little bit longer. But ideally, you do want to move in because that doesn't really provide a lot of cover.
Yeah, after getting that early KP, they've got some space now. They've created some space by force. And we see that there's less and less space here in the Siphon as teams are approaching, looking for a safe haven. You can see Redragon on the rotation now, heading towards Harvester.
Oh my
They've
goodness.
got some space for the time being, it seems. But as I say that, they will spot a team, and now they may be stuck. Now, this is kind of awkward for them in case somebody comes from the back. They've got to think about their 6 here, because you do not want to get sandwiched in this position.
Yeah, and especially with 19 squads left, you know that as teams are rotating, you might end up getting easy 3rd or 4th partied. So you really need to be conscious about where you are, your positioning, and just basically be watching 360.
We had some talk about the 30-30, the dirty 30 as some call it, earlier on, and we'll speak about that. But the Rampage, we need to pay attention to this. I think we might see some Rampage in the EMEA, especially when that thermite grenade is loaded. That thing absolutely shreds. It absolutely shreds, man. It's nasty.
It's disgusting. It took me a minute to warm up to it, but it is so nice. Even when it's not fired up, it shoots at a decent speed and it hits for so much that you just, you may as well just pick it up.
We've got a clip with Nasky to have a look at. So let's see what he's been up to.
The meta as of now is mostly Valk and Caustic. Caustic is very strong at holding down spots, and he's the best character to do so. With Valkyrie, she offers nice and safe rotates with her flying capabilities. So that's the most prevalent composition we will see in competitive Apex at the moment. We play Crypto Caustic because we do play from one of those center POIs with fast rotates. If I could change anything about the meta, I would definitely make it so zones are more predictable. Back when zones were more predictable, we saw comps like Watson Patterner, and I think those comps and those playstyles are more skill heavy, in my opinion. It was just pure fighting, skill, teamwork, synergy at its peak.
With regards to those Valk rotations being safe, I would say they're safer, but I wouldn't go as far as to say they're safe based on what we've seen before. You really need to know what lies ahead of you, and maybe crypto will help with that depending on the distance you're covering, but I think they're becoming less and less safe these days.
Yeah, it's about timing. And, timing is so hard to get down right in Apex, especially in these high tier lobbies. I mean, how are you sure that all the teams are looking at each other and not at you, And who would have predicted that 2 Valkyries would have been ulting into the same location last match altogether? So there are things like that you need to consider, and it's not always easy to time.
The Seat de France are chilling for the time being. I don't know what the French word for chilling is, but I'll go with the English one for now.
Yeah,
looking
looks
for
like
some better armor, I think, as well.
Yeah, their Gibraltar's not doing too well on armor, and that might end up being their demise here if they're not careful. Looks like Rats, the team Rats, they are taking a look over at them here, trying to hold them out a little bit. They don't have the information that Gibraltar has only white shields, but if they do, I mean, we might be seeing them push up, or at least try to take this fight a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, maybe just expend a little more ammo, trying to get a cheap down. Lagger's got some healing to do. 19 squads still up, 56 players. So one of these teams is a man shy.
Ooh.
Let's scope this quadrant out here.
Okay, let's see difference. Getting a little bit confident, trying to get some extra shots off. Lagger is still on white armor, though. That could be really bad for them if they fully engage in this fight.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to evo his armor at the moment. He's trying a pepper. That will certainly... We'll see what I'm not sure where he is right now, but I'm sure he's trying to just land some cheap shots and evo his armor as best he can. But
yeah, Lara's being very self-conscious of their backsides, as they know that teams that is another rotation point that teams could try to come over once they hear the shots. So very good map knowledge there, just making sure that all their bases are covered. But I mean, it's hard to engage in a fight or keep track of 2 different spots when your attention is constantly being divided like this.
Yeah, this is not completely comfortable for them. But with the constant pings, they must be discussing their positioning at the moment. And we've got a rotation from the Goats as they make their way towards Geyser. See what their landing will look like. Behind a lot of cover, which is pretty good. Double gold and purple, so things have got better for them. Oh my god, we've got a huge fight here. Navi are in so much trouble. Nesh, the last man. Now we'll see if they get 3-peat. He's got to get these reses up very quickly indeed. That is a huge victory for them, though. As you can see, both teams were on the ropes, but the Mastiff up close does so much damage.
Yeah, a great save there from their Gibraltar player. What a great play. And I love seeing Mastiff users because I know the EVA 8 has been in the comp scene and competitive scene for a while. It's kind of been the reigning shotgun for a couple of seasons. So seeing the Mastiff play makes me really happy.
Yeah, I am going back to it more. I feel like, especially in pro play, when you've got the late game and all those bubbles are coming in, a lot of the time you're point blank versus people. So the Mastiff really comes into its own there where you... I do want to say can't miss, but you always can miss with a Mastiff and do that damage that you're really not looking for. So, I think there's space for most of them, of course. The EVA 8 will give you faster shots, of course, but I just love seeing the big damage, from those Mastiffs, man. I like, I prefer shredded chicken, so I'm all about the Mastiff.
Yeah, there are a couple of times where I've definitely hit for 11s or 1s with the Mastiff, but for the most part, because of the spread on the Mastiff, I do tend to gravitate more towards that, though the EVA 8's fire rate it definitely outshines most shotguns, but I like that spread damage.
Yeah, I like the Peacekeeper as well, but I think if they were all on the floor, my body is saying Mastiff, my mind is saying EVA 8.
Oh. Oh, looks like Rats and Lucy Difference are still at a standout here. What are... I don't know if they're...
There's a stalemate going on here.
Yeah, they're not especially confident in moving in, and neither team wants to give up their position yet.
No,
GMT.
Nasty has been deleted, which, you know, your crypto going down makes it hard to get that resin. So things are looking a little difficult now for GMT. I think we have a listen in with them as well. So let's see what they're talking about right now.
Yeah. Maybe you can get a rest off in the river, but I don't think it's gonna give any big value.
Grabbing this energy.
Why are people like playing here? It's fucking obvious, the song.
We go river, yeah?
I have an ult excel. If you do as well, I can get pot
No,
again.
I don't.
Alright, I think we
Go left side. You drop down now, yeah, you drop down. You drop down on the right side, it's safer, more or less, but... Or left.
We got this.
Team in S-Choke and Tunnel should have Valcotted already, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about S-Choke. I know about Tunnel. You should be able to just play River.
Don't hit the zip line.
Yeah, don't hit the zip line. Crouch. They know. Run. They know. The Dolly might die here, okay?
One guy here. We can probably kill him.
You just play safe here.
Team across. Go, there's a port here. On me, Gibby. Can we kill him?
Should be almost cracked.
I ulted. Wait,
I don't know where they went. Just play. You can
Oh,
play
that's a different team. That's a
Get the rest right now, though.
I'm trying. There's a bunch of bodies.
Yes. Barrels, Dolly, barrels.
Yeah.
Barrels on the south side. Because that's where we're gonna be. That's the base, okay? That's base.
Stay on me next time.
Drop me an armor if you can.
No.
Okay, it's fine.
The
What loot? What box should I loot?
I'm
This one.
thinking.
Come to this one. This is pretty safe.
This one has an Eva and a longbow.
This
but
one's
no.
got a broken armor.
This one has broken armor too.
Is there any heavy?
No. Take that longbow if you have to, Nask.
Looking for
I'll
a
take the tier one.
I can drop you cells. I have 10 still. I'm 10. The 210. Lowball above us.
Wait, who took all the light? Oh, I'm stupid. Alright, we're chilling, boys.
Look around next. We play these bins. Good shit.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay, working at AFK.
We will get poked from up here, won't we?
You can't.
I really thought if they went for the res there, that some team would try and wreck them. But all the boxes there certainly helped. But that was pretty hilarious. Who took all the... Who took all the ammo? Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Slap face. There is a Loba above me. Well, the fact that they managed to get a res there with no one shooting them after that initial skirmish, it's pretty impressive. And very fortunate.
Yeah, they definitely timed that really well. I mean, again, that bridge spot, like we were saying earlier, James, it's really hard to defend, but it looks like they just got extremely lucky with being able to time that, and they might be able to get out of this, and now they have a full team.
Yeah, things are getting busy in this area. We can see a triple take has been collected by Gambit. Care packages have been opened and raided. And indeed, the heat map is starting to get a little interesting. You can see the top of the map there. We've got two teams just keeping an eye on each other. Like, you're not going to flank us, right? You're not going to flank us, right? You're not flanking us, right? Okay, cool. You're not flanking us, though, right?
Yeah, I just imagine they're glaring at each other, just staring. What are you gonna do? What's the next move?
They're just waiting for the zone to close so they can both just relax a little bit and be like, you know, gentleman's agreement. You go that way, we'll go this way. But you are going that way, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, ooh, it looks like Solo Q Goats are facing a team here, moving in, trying to get a position here. Solo Q is pretty set up with DivQ on Caustic, just barreling up this entire building.
Yeah, we can take a listen in and see what's going on the comms as well.
Remember, we played it once. It's trash. Literally get kills on that for free. Come here.
Yeah.
Did we have gas over there? They can't go there.
I'm just in case, but yeah.
Is that their TP under the blue?
Somewhere.
Fighting above us. We might want to look to clean up above us. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think we do it. I'm moving up. Dead. All dead.
Team later above. Careful.
I'm going down.
Oh, no.
That's
I'm
so
holding.
bad.
Wait.
I'm arcing up there.
Do it.
I will check inside.
Like, how do we not play our lives? Fuck me, man.
Like a beam from the top or something. I don't know.
You just gotta play your life and use smokes and shit. Like.
Yeah, I didn't know he's up there exactly though.
Team is low ground right here. We can fuck this.
That's what I said earlier. Yeah.
Pack one.
Valk is one. Knock Valk.
Nice.
Oh, how did I get fucked?
Like, can we stop going down? Just play our lives. Stay up, please.
That gold backpack really coming in clutch there, but when you don't have that jibby, man, trying to fall back quickly is difficult. You don't have the protection to get those fast reses in, and Shiv gets deleted on the outside.
Yeah, unfortunate. I like the messaging. Can we stop going down? It's a little hard to do so when you have two different teams staring at you and you don't have cover. They're playing that tiny little cover that they have in that building left, but they're gonna have to come out of it, and that's gonna be a world of hurt once they start peeking.
Yeah, this ring is going to start to close now, and with 11 squads up, I think we're talking bloodbath here. You can see this house has multiple inhabitants, but indeed they're going to have to, well, they're looking for something. They're looking to try and clear out the infestation below them, but there are people up in the open, and that's a really hard fight to take because you could get shot from somebody else at the same time, but they're going to bail again. We've got those brazen Valk ults. Just get the hell out of Dodge. We'll see if it works out for them.
Gambit taking to the air, and they're getting all of these massive scans. Valkyrie's passive, being able to give you all these scans when she skydives is huge, and now they know that they don't have a lot of places to go.
They may have found a sneaky little corner to give them some cover as they try to reposition. Na'Vi putting in work with the wingman in the meantime, getting some nice KP. Loba with the melee! What the hell's going on?
What are you doing? Oh my goodness, and that's another KP for Gambit. What on earth was that Loba thinking? She just threw that game for their team. I don't know what's going on, James.
I have never seen something like that from out of nowhere. Loba just coming in there with the fisticuffs like Tyson Fury. I don't know what's going on. But we've gone to from 11 squads to 6, actually, as Le Site de France, I think, have just been removed from contention as well. So this is really speeding up real quick.
Oh, you can see the speed in which Zeta is just trying to combat this team in front of them, knowing that Gambit is below them as well. They almost finished Gambit off, though. They got massive damage on them. I don't think Gambit knows that Zeta is still above them.
Arc Stars flying all over the shop. Actually, Le Site de France are still in this. I can see Joker's here causing some problems. So it wasn't that team, but we are from 11 to 5 now as Zeta Division enjoyed a black market, all red armor as well. Le Site de France have got the full squad up, actually, popping the Phoenixes and the batteries, and they're in a pretty reasonable position as far as that is concerned. 5 squads left, and they're just looking around to see where their closest threats are, some pinging, some discussion, maybe opponents, maybe rotations. Got to be real careful as they are on the low ground now. But they've got a few pieces of cover for the time being, but as the ring starts to close, things are going to get sweatier and sweatier.
Man, the rings today, James, they have been something else. Look at how open this area is. There's not a lot of cover, and people who are on top are going to be slowly pushed out, and they're probably going to be the first facing these teams since they're going to be out in the open.
Yeah, and you really need to dome as late as possible here, because if you're caught without that DOME, you're going to be in a world of pain, and Crypto is going to make that worse as well. You've got one pushing forward to try and do some damage to Le Site de France, but the L-Star's coming in to say no. Zeta are putting in work as well as Na'Vi start to get dropped, and we go down to 4 squads. Got Le Site de France just getting those shields up once again, but look at that kill feed. This is an absolute slaughter now. Zeta Division are trying to do what they can with the last man standing Taskmaster. I can't see a rest happening anytime soon, but there's another down from him. Getting utterly wrecked now as we go down to 3.
Such a good try, Taskmaster, trying to get that KP for his team. And it looks like Lara trying to do this 1v1. But his teammates are also facing other people, and Le Site de France is the champion. What a crazy end circle. I had no idea how many fights were happening, but they were all happening on different corners.
Man, there was so much action in a very, very small area. Again, it was 11 teams up as the ring started to close, and you knew there was nowhere for these teams to go. You could see how open that final ring was. Le Site de France hugging one of the few walls available as best they could. they had enough cover to repeatedly get their shields up, and I think that was really important to keep their shields high. We saw teams like Na'Vi, for example, who didn't have the space to like go for a res with 2 players crawling on the floor, just trying to do what they can with that last player. L'Équipe de France with 9 kills with the victory, so that is that's pretty good. Again, we've got 11, 15, 10, and 5 for the previous victors as well, so that is in keeping with most of the other action.
Look at Zeta. Yeah, Zeta's points, they had 12 kills, putting them at 17. So technically second in terms of points on this in this lobby here. That's nothing to scoff at. That's quite good. I mean, they're still racking up points. So you really can't count out KP, especially in these late game matches. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, we have to recognize that Gambit get a 3rd place in game 5, and they've been looking for a better result, and that's pretty good. 7 points out of that just on the placement, 3 kills. Would be hoping for more, but again, it's better than we've been seeing from them in the previous games, and we were looking especially towards Gambit for a better result, and I think we got that to some degree, but we can see the scores on the doors here now for L'Équipe de France.
Ooh.
2, 3, and 4 kills. It will be the Wraith again leading by example, just getting that last bit of damage to get those downs. And Lagger there, the Jibzilla for game number 5 with 1800 damage. Again, that dome so important, as we saw during that game.
Yeah, I believe it was Rebel who threw down their Gibraltar ultimate and dome a little too early, and L'Équipe de France did get 2 downs from them. So you really needed time when you're going to throw that bubble down. Otherwise, you might not have it when you really want to have it in a fight. So L'Équipe de France just showing how they are all just so good at playing the game. I mean, we saw Lara was playing a 1v1, ended up exchanging downs, and then his teammates finished the kills for him. So perfect team play there.
Yeah, absolutely great team play. And speaking of team, Kate, what is your dog up to?
Oh, well, you know, she's back to napping. Her ultimate is definitely napping. But I will say this, I've got a question for both of you that I feel like has been on our minds and on our lips in various forms, but here is the question that we just saw, which is, what is riskier? Stella, I'm going to start with you. Wraith kidnaps or Valk late game redeploys?
I want to say Wraith kidnaps because you are on your own when you do a kidnap. So like we've seen, I mean, we saw one successful Wraith kidnap. We saw one very unsuccessful Wraith kidnap. And in the unsuccessful kidnap, you can see how risky it is because you're the only team. You're the only member of your team pushing. So you're out completely alone. At least with the Valk ult, I mean, yes, you can get shot at and yes, you can get downed, but it's usually one member and you're in a group of 3, so the damage might be spread out. But yeah, I would say Wraith kidnap, in my opinion.
There it is. James?
All right, so it's time for James' logic.
Giddy up,
okay?
here we go.
All right.
Here we go, yes.
The Wraith kidnap is only risky if it goes wrong, okay? If it goes right, you know?
Sure.
That's how I feel about it. You just don't want to be the guy it goes wrong for. No, but on a serious note, though, I think that the Wraith one is probably risky because, again, you've got the whole team, so with the Valk ult, so that's going to be a lot easier for you.
Exactly. Well, see, and I love those hot takes because they feel like there is so much that we have seen throughout the team comps and so much different play, especially here for our EMEA as we take a look at our highlights. James, talk me through a little bit. We saw Gambit, we saw Maestro, we saw some of these teams being very consistent, if not necessarily in that winning circle, but certainly giving the teams a run for their money.
Yeah, we saw Hardeki with the, I know he was using a flatline just there, but we saw him with the R301. I was looking to see if he would have a wingman again, because it's fun to watch. But I think maybe the R301, he's got enough to deliver some more consistent downs and get a bit more out of it. And again, they got a 3rd place, so it's not 1st place, and I feel like those 5 points do make a hell of a difference, but they're certainly headed in the right direction now. They've got one more opportunity ahead of them today to really get some juicy points on the board, but you know, it's improving from game to game for Gambit.
Juicy points across the board. Stella, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Gambit's doing pretty well. I mean, we do see them creeping up, but you have to also consider the fact that it is late now. Like, this is game 5, so now we see that they are starting to creep up, but I don't know if that's enough. This last game, they're going to have to get some really big points, some extra KP, high placement if they really want to make it back up onto the board into the first half. So we'll see. It's cutting it pretty close, Kate.
You know what, Stella, that is a great transition to my last question here, which you just nailed it. We are coming into game number 6. It's day 3 of our Pro League here. We're knee deep in the group stages. This is, of course, the first time we've seen these two groups up against each other. And as you've seen, these teams can be consistent. They can take some risky plays and they can go for it. And with mixed results, as we've seen, I'm curious, James, let's start with you. What do you expect to see in terms of maybe team comp changes, maybe changes in any changes that you have, changes going in to this game number 6?
In terms of changes, I think if you come in with a different game plan, I feel like you can't be too outcome oriented, but there has to be a cutoff point where you think like, okay, maybe, you know, pros and cons basically. So if you take solo queue goats, for example, I think there's a pros and cons, like, do we want to run Valk? Do we want to run Jibby? I think they'd probably lean towards the Valk and keep the composition the same. But that's the kind of thing that I would think would be a conversation if there was one to have.
Stella.
I actually have a question for James. So you talked about solo queue goats and their composition. Would you say that, I mean, I love Shiv, all the respect to him. Do you
Don't
feel
you
like
dare,
Shiv...
Stella. Don't you dare.
I'm gonna ask it.
Don't you dare. You have to be...
Do you think that Shiv on Bangalore might change? Do you think that might be something that they'll have to talk about in the future?
Never.
No,
If he changes, I'm disconnecting. If he changes, I'm telling you, they are the team of the people. You cannot betray the people. He is Bangalore. That's it. End of discussion.
He is Bangalore, just the character encompassing all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He is Bangalore. But you know what? I have to say, one question I have is like, what the hell happened with that random Loba just in the middle of a dome with just another team? Like, hey guys, can I just like, can I hang out with you? Can we play as a 4? Like, and just start meleeing everybody. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, she just wanted to be adopted, but I mean, you know, this is a battle royale. This is survival of the fittest, and she just didn't fit in with that squad, so she got deleted.
You are not wrong, and she did it in heels. There we go. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about something you can get in on right effing now. Yep, didn't swear. There it is. Enter Lenovo Legion's ALGS Pro League giveaway for your chance to win a free Lenovo Legion gaming PC. Go ahead and visit twitter.com/Lenovo Legion for more details. Some hot takes, some excitement here. Last question before we go, I think, to our final match of the EMEA's day here in day number 3. I got to ask real quick, high points. What are you thinking in terms of the ring coming into game number 6? We've had some various themes here. We've seen some rings before that we've seen some new ones. Talk to me a little bit about Stella. Go!
Okay, if we're gonna go for the clusters that we've been seeing, I want to see a Trials final circle. Talk about Major Chaos. I want to see it.
That's perverted. A Trials ring? That's insane.
You like inflicting grief, so why are you mad at me? Isn't this like your pride and joy? Aren't you happy that I'm leaning into it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'll be honest.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's fine. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind like a harvester ring, because I feel like that where those blast doors are, you know, by definition, like you can't blow those doors off. So that real estate inside is so prime. One team will try and hold it, but people are definitely going to barrel in there. So you're going to get mad fights from like 2 or 3 people who just want to avoid everybody else and just chill inside the blast doors. And outside, it's just absolute mayhem and defensive bombardments everywhere. And I think that's quite fun. So for me, I would say Harvester.
Excellent. Mayhem, chaos. We like to see it, and we'll see it perhaps here in game number 6. But first, make sure to follow us on all of our socials. The journey continues across all of those platforms. We got Twitter at @PlayApexEsports. We got YouTube at @PlayApexEsports. We got Twitch at PlayApex. We also got that 4K stream on YouTube, so something to think about there if you're really looking at that 4K stream is something to watch here today. Well, that's about all we got here. But guess what? Right around the corner, we have game number 6. EMEA, let's hear it on Twitter and on the socials. We'll see you back here in just a second.
Играй. Тут еще. Да 10 раз сказал рез, я смотрю.
Let's go! Hala!
And it's all come down to this. We are moving on to the final game here in the EMEA region, Tom, and it's so excited to see how all of our squads have shifted in the overall standings for the day.
Shifted, we don't really know, but I love the listenings that we're having right there with Solo Q Goats. It's like, play your life. Dude, I'm playing my life. It's so funny to hear them kind of bicker at each other and just get that constructive criticism. And yeah, I mean, I feel for them because everyone's taking damage so fast in these lobbies because we have so many teams that are just coexisting in all these little crevices of the map.
Yeah, we saw earlier on Zeta Division, they're holding on to that first place spot currently with an overall points of 44 points. And then Lecito Fonts just winning their second game that we've seen throughout the entire course since last week. I believe they had won game number 3 in a very similar way. This time, a little late to the party, they ended up winning game number 5, but they're looking fantastic as they sit in second place.
You can never count out Lecito de France because they just fly under the radar and then they hit you and they just walk away with first place, just like they did in the Autumn Circuit playoffs. $45,000 is what they walked away as a team. They also won the LCQ, so they're totally capable of going forward and winning this thing.
You know what I love to highlight though, after the chaos that we saw go down in game number 5, let's talk about how a lot of that chaos came from a lot of some Lobo plays that we had seen. Aside from the one Lobo rat that just dropped from the respawn ship into the chaos, just kind of getting the wrong memo that this isn't the MMA, this is the ALGS. You know, trying their best out here. At least they tried. That's what I like to see here, of course, as well as some shield stealing that we're seeing from some of these Lobo squads. We'll talk a little bit about that now as Redragon, they're already making their drop here over to Survey.
Speaking of Loba, Taskmaster sitting in the kill lead right now, tied with Plush at 11 kills. We'll see if Lecito de France can end this one on top. It's such a close leaderboard. We're in the final game. Hopefully, y'all have been enjoying the games.
It's been so fun. I definitely have right here, especially looking how some of these squads have kind of changed up their gameplay going into the second week, Tom. And it really highlights here the adaptation that some of these squads could be making throughout the week as they do prepare for these weekends of a lot of this ALGS action.
No doubt about it, but now we have that zone pulling up. It's not Trials, so sorry, Stella, but it is going to go over towards that northern side. And this is very similar to that zone that we had in game number 1. Take a look at that priority building right in the middle, that beacon building, across from that train track area where Zeta set up earlier in game number 1. It looks like we are having a little deja vu here.
You know what I really like about this too, Tom? We were talking about it earlier on while watching that game and how it's so important to make sure you get that building before any of these other squads. We saw Redragon being able to do that just earlier on in the first circle. Meanwhile, Solo Q Goats, it's back to the bread and butter of landing in Trials, getting some of this equipment before they make their rotation. But that building that you were talking about is going to be the secure spot for this circle.
And I'm expecting something very similar from Solo Q Goats to come in and rotate from that skyhook side and try to take control of that area, because the team that does play on that skyhook side coming in, they're going to be able to have a huge advantage because of the fact that look at how Major Pushers was able to win game number 1. They forced themselves over towards the fence. All of these teams are going to be coexisting inside of that beacon building if that's going to be the zone that ends up getting played. And we saw a team like GMT sit in the bottom of the beacon building, continuously scanning with the crypto. Unfortunately, didn't have the beacon for that particular game, and I'm not quite sure if the beacon is here in this one as well. But Solo Q Goats feeling good about their loot, and we'll see if they're going to be able to play their lives like they did in game number 5.
And that beacon play is going to be so important too if there is a beacon on that building, because it really does highlight why crypto is being utilized so much in the EMEA region, just being able to get the beacon circle and not overextend while doing so. It's your drone that's able to do it for you. And Kungarna are wasting no time as they make their rotation over here, and they look a little weak in terms of shield. You do have 2 blue Evos, you have 1 white, but is it going to be enough in case some of these squads who are already rotating in this direction may already look great with some Evo shields that they've been able to build up?
Our first Valkyrie redeploy in game number 6. Unfortunately from Kungarna, they already have a team that pushed over towards that sniper post, and there's multiple teams that are inside Skyhook behind them. So now it's a Kungarna sandwich. That's not what you want to have. We can see the player outlines teams over towards that northwest, and then we saw from that Valkyrie passive the teams over towards that cave area, which is going to be that priority position. The team that wants to push out over towards that Skyhook side again will have a huge advantage.
Now, talking about Kungarna and how they've been doing so far, this was, of course, a team that I was really looking forward to watching going into this third day. And Kungarna kind of coming up on the rise, but as Stella mentioned earlier, this is the last game. You kind of are at your wit's end at this point on your playstyle and what you should be doing differently to secure those mandatory points so that way you can put yourself back up in the leaderboards.
The same exact 3 teams in the same exact position. Zeta, they're going to take the blue trailer. GMT, they're going to take beneath the beacon building. And then Redragon, they are sitting there as well in the same position that they were at. Keep in mind, Redragon got second place with 16 points overall. 7 kills from inside the building is not easy to do. We'll see what happens here in game number 6.
Especially when you're here so early too, so you're denying yourself being able to loot more, and you have to take into consideration the amount of ammo that you're working with if you're going to stay here for the long term. And look how they're already preparing the outside of the building, because like you said, Redragon, they wasted no time to be here. They've played this game before. We saw the similar circle, and they're going to be playing it right.
And there goes Na'Vi realizing that they're a little bit late on that rotation, and they're going to have to back off, not go over towards that building because of the coexisting that's happening, and they're going to take this choke area, which isn't a bad spot to be in, but keep in mind, all the teams that are going to try to filter in on over there from Landslide, coming out of the side of Skyhook as well, this spot is going to be highly contested.
Crazy to see so far how GMT have been doing. They also have the crypto drone, so they could go for that beacon in case they want to know where that next circle is going to be pulling, but I do think that it's just going to be a very similar case here. Just try to get rid of some pressure here, just in case they wanted a caustic gas trap into that cart, and also the black market that they had been looting from.
Looks like one of the players dropped their armor throughout all of that while the EMP was going off, so he only picked up 100 damage, I believe, and that's close to being able to charge that Evo shield up. One more shot, and there it is, getting on over towards the blue. Like you said, though, not a lot of loot here. Looking at the longbow, 26 shots here, Vicky. That's not ideal.
That's what you're risking here when you want to play for this end circle, when you want to play for positioning, and it's just something that you have to be wary of for these fights like this one right here, Gambit Esports. Now they're currently looted up. You can see the attachments on that G7 and the portal being put out by Hardeki, understanding this is not the situation we want to be in. We want to rotate right out of here.
Hardeki taking one for the team, doesn't even have time to heal. He's going to lay down the portal. He's going to phase down on over towards the blue trailer. They're getting out of dodge. Phoenix Kit is going to be popped as well. Now things get a little bit dicey for Gambit Esports.
Is tricky here because they also don't have a caustic, Tom, and we've noticed that that's what really allows a lot of these squads to excel in these tight corridors, and a lot of grenades being sent out too. Gambit Esports forced to reposition, and the opposing squad, they have the high ground.
Nice little parkour wall bounce there for Leogri, trying to stay alive. Again, just getting so much pressure put on them from multiple angles. Rats with the high ground, pushing and bullying them out. Carefully, you don't want to take that portal.
Absolutely not. You don't want to be staring at Hardeki in the face, although it looks like they've already made the rotation, and somebody took the portal behind them. Now wondering here if that was an overextension. Meanwhile, ooh, Catboys, they want to get into the party. They wanted an invite. Maybe it got lost in the mail somewhere, but they are making the rotation over to the fight.
And there it is, stuck between some cats and rats, and now without their captain, Hardeki, and it's going to be so difficult because you know that he had to take that portal back because of the amount of pressure that was being added from, again, multiple angles on the high ground as well. So Gambit going to be in a tough spot. First player to be eliminated. Still 20 full squads. We'll see if they can go and get that respawn, but it's going to be tough to even get the beacon because they understand the timer on this. They also understand Gambit and how strong of a team they are.
And I like this positioning, too, that they're holding the high ground. We've seen TSM actually do something very similar here when it comes to some of these circles, to contest a lot of these squads that are making the rotation by the edge of the circle. And, you know, maybe taking a different look at what I used to know Tom and Jerry, how it used to be, with cats and rats just coming in, trying to find these different rotations, and a care package left uncontested on the ground before Manias moved their way over to see what's inside of it.
And Mania is going to be able to get something out of this, but there is pressure being added. It's going to be a gold helmet. That's going to help with some of these utilities, with the portals, with the queues as well. You can see only an 18-second timer on that once you have the gold helmet, but still struggling to get some armor over here. You can see just rocking the gray, blue, not ideal for the Catboys.
Oh, but they got the redeploy, so they're not worried too hard here, as they are also going to have some intel as they make their rotation to figure out where a lot of these squads are positioned here. They want to get ahead of the game. Again, as you noted, we've already seen 3 squads that were holding onto that building to their left, and yeah, being under the bridge was probably going to be the move right now because they don't want to be out in the open for a lot of these squads to just get these free hits off of Catboys.
Definitely a spot that you can go and hold. You would ideally want to have a caustic here throughout all of this, but still safe for now. And you're going to have to deal with a lot of different angles here. Teams coming out over towards Skyhook, like we talked about. Teams that are come outside of that train tunnel as well. Plus all the teams that are coexisting over towards the beacon building. You still have Zeta over towards the side inside the blue trailer. Speaking of them, let's take a look at what their loot is. And you have a black market in hand as well. So not able to drop that quite yet because there hasn't been any deaths around. I'm going to save that one because there's no use of even dropping it based on the loot.
Yeah, and no worry for Shiv, who probably isn't around the area right now, but we had seen Zeta Division steal that gold Evo shield in Game 2, and that looked absolutely hilarious, so I'm pretty sure a lot of these squads just being wary of that situation with the black market being out. It's going to allow Zeta Division to make sure they're nicely looted with some ammunition, too.
Clean taking some damage. That's going to be unlucky. Just losing a little bit of health, 25 on that gray shield. Gonna go all the way towards the fragment side, Vicky. This is talk about taking the scenic route, okay?
Yeah, no, you can see everything here. 5 stars for the ride. Thanks, guys. Make sure you tip nicely as clean. They are going to be able to land right here, get some intel as the other squads who are also in fragment. And look at this. Who's called the party? The construction building has been overtaken by another squad. And this is scary here if you're team clean, because you're also working with a white Evo shield. You got 2 blues, and you've already utilized the redeploy, and you're still outside of circle in between 2 squads.
And taking a look, flush happened over towards the side, but I believe that they were able to get Hardeki back in because you can see there's 59 players overall. We do have a listen with Clean. Let's see what the comms are like.
Okay. I want us to get across here if possible. Come. They gotta shoot us probably from construction. Watch out for that. Watch out for that. I don't know what they're still. Bro, get it. Yeah, freaking life, man. How much on your Valk?
I have ult.
Let's do it here. Let's do it here then.
I
think they're gonna get shot, bro.
I will. Like, I'm just gonna do it. Fuck it. We can't get over landside, bro. It's impossible, I think.
Okay, can we
go
get
around Harvester?
Go Harvester. Go Harvester. Move the tunnel and everything.
Fucking hell.
It's a really tough rotation. We get an airdrop here. Oh, nice. Dub.
Watch out, not tunneling someone.
Go through staging, maybe. Yeah. Now we are gonna go through staging now. We're gonna go through.
Yeah, I agree. Understand.
Triple take, sorry.
Triple take. I'm taking it. I dropped now heavy.
Oh yeah, give me.
I'll go. All right, we gotta be a little bit tight on.
I have another Valk. You can take this.
Give me. It's on full.
I don't think we should.
We wanna play RV if possible. It's a really fucking stretch. Well, let's try.
It is.
There's 2
RV,
switches.
no, RV is gonna be taken like 1,000,000%.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Med kit here. I'm dropping 3 cells. No, never mind.
Yeah, I'm taking.
How many med kits do you have?
I got 2 and 6 ranges.
4 switches, 1 Phoenix. Wait.
People are like still in. Wait, they knock one here above. They're like the.
Okay.
They're like super.
Yeah, Valko?
2 of them are knocked.
44 right now. I'm gonna pop it after the ultimate server.
Keep moving.
Yeah. I'm gonna pop my ultimate server now. Just save it on left.
You should, because we can't just run, bro.
Yeah. We need to Valk ult inside.
They gotta have to move as well. They're in zone.
What if we land there?
Yeah, that's the goal.
I have ult in 12.
Okay.
Just hold. We can't keep running.
When do you have it? Sorry?
In 9. No, 8.
Just keep on syringes.
Where are we gonna land?
See 1 team playing RV height. RV height. We might catch them by surprise.
Okay. Where's your ping, guys? On the left here. By the way.
Here.
Yeah, right there.
Okay,
go. Alright, full focus, boys.
Oh.
Aim for the house.
Yeah.
Aim for the house.
I'm gonna go in from that door.
Yeah. 1 team RV.
I'm going from behind. I'm looking window. I don't know. I'm sure.
No.
Okay, nice. Popping that kit.
Get syringes and shit if you can get it. Possibly. I'm gonna gas it up real quick, and then we have to look forward now. We have to bully it. We have to bully away that RV team.
I got 1 R-star.
Clean feeding ultimate accelerants to their Valk like you would feed quarters in a gumball machine, and for all the right reasons right there. I love the rotation from Clean. That was really tough, and that was probably their best and safest option now that they have this position. They're still by the edge of circle, Tom, and they're still putting on some pressure.
Fortunately for them, they are still in the zone, and we do have a different zone pool. It's going to go southwest of where we were predicting. And that's going to be difficult for the teams that were coexisting over towards that beacon building. We know that Redragons was over there. We also know that GMT and Zeta are there as well. Maestro have themselves a strong day overall. No fear, they're starting to get pushed.
Ooh, oh, this is so tough here. You're stuck inside a thermite grenade too. What can you do in this situation when the Nox gas is also just taking away at your health? You are just blocked off in every single exit, and that is why it is so necessary to be able to have a caustic to contest this building, or else this squad wouldn't have really had the chance to push in with their barrels.
And now we know why they are called Clean. That is a clean wipe overall, just coming through, understanding the situation. They were low on syringes, and they had worse armor, they had worse positioning, and all of a sudden they just bullied their way into that trailer and rewarded big time.
They needed that. They needed all the equipment that they could get. They were able to be able to dogpile that team that was inside that building. Amazing opportunity taken right there from Clean. Now we're going to take a look at Maestro Gaming, who have taken control over the sniper tower. And Tom, this circle isn't going to be the same circle that we saw earlier. So Dragon, they're going to have to move out of that building soon. And it's going to look tricky here with Lecite France already holding the edge, should contest any of the squads that actually have to rotate away from there.
And that was a position I thought would be a really strong position overall. But now with that zone pull, it is going to be so difficult for these teams to go and make their way through. Meanwhile, Maestro on top of the sniper post, feeling good about the situation that they're in. Have a team caught out over towards the choke. But keep in mind, there's another team behind them, another team inside the choke, and another team inside the cave. You saw Navi is camping inside there.
So tricky here. You have a bombardment at the very least, but Maestro Gaming, they want to hold on to that. They note that there's some squads just trying to rotate off of this area, this choke point, but they get it down, and this choke point is going to be so crazy now coming up soon if 789 don't get out of there soon, because there's another squad rolling up right behind them.
You see 17 squads remaining. There goes Zanya getting dropped. It's the missile swarm overall. Rugby going to take that one down, and now it's just a matter of how long can they hold this position? How will they be able to hold off clean as well over towards that trailer side? And on the opposite side of the map where we thought the zone was going to pull, take a look at what's going on from the Lecite France side. And again, two teams over towards the side. You have Dragon there, you have GMT. They're going to all have to move here.
And they're going to be out in the open too, right in the line of sight of Maestro Gaming. They're going to love this, especially since they're in that third place currently in the overall leaderboards. They need as many kills as they could possibly get. They are also going to be able to utilize some of these caustic barrels as some makeshift cover. And I like this idea right here because it's going to also help protect their backs towards a lot of the squads that are holding that back end corner.
And it's going to continue to pull down towards them too. So this is the priority position. We've seen this zone a lot of times. The team on the high ground typically has a huge advantage. You're also going to see multiple teams that will try to portal or make their way in over beneath the sniper post. And you could even have two teams down there throughout all of that. Team Kungarna haven't had the performance they were looking for today. Maybe they can end off on a strong note.
And what's huge here is that Zeta Division are out right now, Tom. That's absolutely big because Zeta Division was that squad that had that first place spot. Now you have to contest here with squads like Lecite France. You have to now contest with the fact that you have Dungeon Masters also just right there in that third place spot. And currently, with a lot of the way that these squads are playing, they want to make sure that they play this safe. They want to have that end circle while also maintaining a lead with their kills.
We're also going to see some Valkyrie redeploys probably coming through. The question is can you win this fight inside of the cave if you're Navi? It's so important to gatekeep with 25 seconds left. It all comes down to this.
Right here, the pressure's coming in. The dome has been forced out here, but it's only up to Nesh, who only had the shields up for this beginning part of the fight. Navi's in trouble too, have gone down in Kungarna. They're going to take that. They're going to take the loot, and they're going to start rotating soon.
They were in 15th place. Navi, they were sitting in 5th overall. That's a tough bullet to bite right there. Zeta, LCDF, DM, Maestro, your top 4 teams ahead of them, and we know what's going on with Maestro as well as they are posted up. Great fight by Kungarna.
And they have the Valkyrie redeploy too. They're just going to get out of this situation. They're not going to get gate kept because this basically helps prevent that. They're going to run into some traffic control over to their left. It's another Valkyrie who's been able to move in, and this airspace is pretty congested.
They can see one rat on the other side. Rugby somehow in the air with the 3x Elsar, just ruining dreams for Kungarna.
Oh my, the beamage too. And they're on the high ground, which also allows them to feel elevated. They can have a better line of sight of a lot of these squads that are flying in. Not only are you walking to an open field in front of Maestro Gaming, but you're flying through an open field too, with nowhere to really LOS this squad.
I'm fairly certain we saw Lecite France get eliminated in that kill feed, which means Maestro loving the position that they are in. Not quite sure where Zeta is as well. They're sitting in first with 44 points clean. Winners of our game number 2 that Solo Q Goats took 2nd place in. Solo Q Goats again eliminated fairly early in this game. 10 squads remain.
Competition's heating up right now, and we currently have caustic barrels getting unleashed as the bombardment has gone down. GMT, they're stuck by these crates and they're still outside of circle. They have a minute to start rotating, but will they even have the opportunity with them being sandwiched on both sides?
And you can see Zeta's actually out right now, so this is all up to Maestro if they want to continue to lock down this position. Sitting in 4th place. GMT, they're sitting in 9th place, could have a big performance here again. When we look at this, the leaderboard is so tight. 30 points overall for GMT. Zeta was sitting in first, and they're already eliminated at 44 points. So it's completely possible here for GMT. Kind of what they did last week. They came through. They weren't looking at the top of the leaderboard. All of a sudden, big bounce back game in game number 6 where they won it, and they took the dub.
Or even crazier, Dungeon Master's still in this too, and honestly right now with the way that they've been playing as consistent as they have been, could really be up to any of these squads right now. With Zeta Division being out and bowing from this last game, the Seat de France also being in this contention. GMT really need to start making these moves. Some pressure coming out from the triple take.
Still seeing that pull on over towards where the sniper post is. Teams already coexisting down below. A lot of armor sitting up here. You got to be worried about Lobos potentially stealing those ones, but having Caustic in this end game, Vicky, is going to be huge.
Absolutely, because it's going to prevent a lot of these squads from landing through the zip line, but you don't need to take the zip line if you have a Valko and you feel a little brave right now. Feeling brave enough to land right in front of them? I mean, they could get at the line of sight of the rocks, but it's not going to be enough.
And this is what we talked about. Multiple teams are going to sit over towards the bottom here. Maybe 3 teams currently sitting down there. That means Maestro is going to be loving what they see. You could toss barrel after barrel down towards the ground if you really wanted to have some extra AoE. There goes 789 getting eliminated in 8th place. Maestro just looking so strong up here.
What do you do in this situation? Dungeon Masters are now rotating behind this crate. They want to secure some kills if they can't secure their positioning, but they're getting beamed by Maestro, who sees all the action happening out in front of them.
Dungeon Masters were sitting in 3rd place before this game started. It doesn't look like Plush is going to be able to survive quite yet. You see the queue coming through. It's just a matter of time before they get eliminated. Could be a miracle res coming in on the other side, but we'll see if Maestro wants to set the focus over towards that area.
Are we going to see the 2-peat? Maestro Gaming, the same squad who took game number 4 with 10 kills? I mean, right now, they were tied earlier with Dungeon Masters in first place, and now game number 5 kind of revealed Data Division with a different plan, but this positioning is really proving something for Maestro Gaming. I'm not really sure what could force them out of here other than a bombardment, but even then, it's not going to really hit them with some cover on the top high ground.
Yeah, they'll have the bubble, and plus they have the cover from the high ground like you were talking about. The big problem when you sit up over towards that sniper post is running low on resources. Right now, the resources that they're running low on is ammo. Plenty of heals because they're not taking any damage. They have a box up there. Maybe they're going to be able to find some more heavy ammo or swap guns, and you will have that EVA 8 in the back pocket. Team Clean having to use the bubble a little bit early as the zone starts to move in 3 seconds.
Scary situation. Also hearing Maestro Gaming still on this high ground. You got the shield swaps like you were talking about before. They had some death boxes right there next to them here. Just trying to get an angle, and like you were saying, that ammo, you have to take an eye on that because you're only down to the last 21 bullets in the chamber. You have the Nox grenade too, and this is such a tricky circle, but I like this positioning that we currently have from Mady here, from Kungarna, just holding this middle angle.
Yeah, just Valkyrie jetpack trade up there, staying alive over there. And I also love the use of the EVA 8 instead of going with the flatline because of the fact that most likely down to only about 30 shots. Dead inside, see what they're going to be able to do. Has that low black market in front of them. Great L-Star shots as well.
I thought Maestro Gaming was going to steal that, honestly. I saw the L-Star also coming out from left field, but no, it's going to go in favor for Dead inside. They're still holding this angle, and the circle's closing in. It's just going to be a matter of time before Maestro Gaming's forced off of this high ground.
16 bullets overall, nothing in those death boxes. Bubble dissipating here fairly shortly. It's all about this Nox gas grenade timing. Still has 3 barrels too. I'd love to start seeing him chuck barrels down there.
Have to see what they're going to wait to do, especially now that they know that there's no dome, and that's why you're seeing this bombardment coming out. The Valk Tactical too, putting in some extra pressure. Are those rocks just enough to help protect you? And it seems like it is.
It is, and Clean still staying alive right in that thermite as well. That's going to be the Nox gas grenade finally coming out from Ron. Doesn't look like it's connecting quite yet, and that's going to be the drop down. Keep in mind, Kungarna was directly above him.
Oh, Maestro Gaming now dropping down. They do get the crack first. John is in some trouble, doesn't have a shield, but does have the barrels to help utilize that to make some extra cover. They saved the dome for the last minute, but so did this other squad that's right below them. They're still holding the high ground right now, Tom. Is it going to be enough? Maestro Gaming coming in for the third party.
And remember how he held on to the Arc Star? That's going to be it. Maestro Gaming is going to take it, and that's also the first time we've seen a 2-win performance so far in the EMEA region, taking down game number 4 over towards the Lava City side, this time with an unpredictable zone pull over towards the sniper post. It's going to be Maestro. Is that enough to take the win overall? We'll find out.
I honestly think it is, Tom. I mean, this is the way that Maestro Gaming played that, the way that they came in for the third party, securing a lot of those kills for a lot of those rotations that were just presented to them on a silver platter. I mean, when you're forced to run into open ground like that, or your Valkyrie ulting all in front of you when you're holding onto the high ground on the sniper tower, where else can you go? What can you do to contest Maestro Gaming in that specific positioning?
Just great discipline throughout all of that. Everything was well timed, but the big thing was watching the kill feed overall and watching that zone pull. The teams like Zeta that were in first place, just waiting for that to pull over towards that train track again, maybe over towards the beacon building. It didn't work out for them. Then they had to make a tough rotation. Same with DM. All these Valkyries that were starting to fly in, that just was letting the eyes blink up on the side of Maestro.
It's so tough too. The L-Star just beaming down a lot of those Valkyries, especially when they were coming out of the sky. We saw them take a 1 pick at a Gibby, and you can see right now 12 kills in total, securing themselves 24 points overall for this last game.
What a big game there from Maestro. And again, they played so well throughout the day. I mean, they came in 3rd place with game number 1. They threw game number 2. They land over towards the staging side. They died really early, but then they started to pick up that momentum back in. Again, like we said in game number 4 with that Lava City win, that was not an easy play to go and do. Remember how they Valkyried up over towards the roof? So many great plays from Maestro.
Yeah, you know, like you mentioned, game number 2, it did not look so great for Maestro Gaming. They were the first squads to go out in the entire lobby, but with securing these 2 wins, I'm honestly wondering here if this is going to be enough for Maestro Gaming to really maintain their lead in the overall leaderboards.
I really think it is. I'm looking at it right now. We haven't had it updated, and we're going to get that updated here very shortly. But let's take a look at who really popped off in terms of the damage and the kills. And it's Rugby. Oh, my goodness. 2,800 damage. Just remember all of the awesome plays that happened just to get up to that point. So many well-timed redeploys.
And you have to imagine the resources like you were talking about before being as limited as it was, holding onto that high ground for so long. They had some death boxes because they were able to fight another squad that tried to push them out of that high ground. But Rugby with so much damage, I mean, just being able to beam so many players from that low ground while you're holding on to the positional advantage is insane. But over 2,000 damage in total is impressive.
And let's welcome back Kate. I know she's stoked after seeing that game. And it's also really important to point out that the Valkyrie Caustic Gibby composition really worked.
Oh, you are not wrong at all, Tom. And actually, that's one of the things, one of those key themes throughout today's 6 games here in our EMEA region that I find super interesting. And one of the things you guys were talking about so much in that late game. Caustic, let's get those barrels down. Let's go and make a move. I want to ask, and let's start with you, Vicky, as we take a look at these highlights. Which of these which of these is the more deadly in the late game match? Caustic Gas or Loba's Black Market?
Oh, Caustic's Gas, absolutely. Because you can see right there, just not having the dome be able to protect you. I mean, Gibby's a big boy, but with the Nox grenade to force them out of the truck, I mean, what can you do in that situation? You're stuck over by the corner just wishing that the dome was enough to protect you, but that's why it's so deadly. Once you utilize those domes, you can still throw the Nox grenade inside of those domes, and now everybody who's fighting in that close circle, who's closing in on you, you have no cover. You're forced to be inside that Nox grenade gas.
Oh yeah, Tom, talk to me.
I'm just looking at that fight and those highlights that happened, and Navi, who was sitting in 5th place, right behind Maestro, only 2 points behind when that started, loses that fight to Kangarna when the zone was pushing over towards them. If they win that fight, they possibly go on to win this thing overall. So Kangarna really taking it to him right there.
You are not wrong. And one of the things I love about Apex and all BRs really is that early game, mid game, late game story. Because of course we see the chaos in those final circles. But let's be clear, the chess game that happens at the top there, Kitty, that is the one to look for. It's certainly something that, you know, separates the weak from the strong.
What's crazy here, looking at Lecito France and Zeta Divisions tied for 2nd place with 44 points, and then the difference between everybody from 2nd all the way to 6th place, so close together in terms of their points, really highlights the competition. But what's even more impressive is Maestro Gaming moving up the 3 spots necessary after taking that last win on the last game, securing themselves 61 points for this day 3.
Oh man, oh my gosh. Well, and I will say, Tom, we'll talk about predictions later, but was this something we've all seen Maestro Gaming? We know a lot of these teams. We saw Dungeon Masters pop off last week, and certainly some of these teams for sure. Was this a surprise to see Maestro come out on top in this group?
It wasn't, but after game number 2, I was a little bit worried. Once they got back in game number 4 with their win, and after we saw the way that they were able to redeploy on over towards the roof and train station, gave me a feeling that they were firing on all cylinders. And keep in mind, 61 points is the highest we've seen out of the 3 days overall. 54 was the highest total. 61 now is where the bar is set, thanks to Maestro Gaming.
Yeah, thanks to Maestro, indeed. One question I do want to ask here at the end, as we've been wrapping things up for our EMEA day number 3, for both of you is you know, we always want to give players who are going through ranked, who are going on their own, their personal time, we want to give them something to look at. What do you think are the big takeaways from today's 6 matches in our EMEA region that, you know, Kitty, we'll start with you. Like, Vicky, like, what do you think that people can take away from this to help their own gameplay here in after game 6?
pay close attention to how a lot of these squads that predicted the circles properly, how they went about securing that position for that final circle. You saw a lot of these squads, for example, like Redragons for that building in game number 2, where a lot of these squads, they predicted right. They knew where they needed to be. And then sometimes you predict wrong, where you expect the same circle like in the last game, and Redragons, they were ready for it. You saw just with the first circle closing in that they were already positioned inside of there. But to kind of make up for a mistake where, you know, the circle unfortunately doesn't bless you, you have to think about your next game plan. You should always be thinking ahead, but also knowing where you should be positioned depending on your team composition is going to be super important for those end circles.
Yeah, I really think that's the key, is positioning throughout all of this, because of the fact, not just positioning, but the way that you're able to position your team, and then the macro decisions that you make and the micro decisions that you make up to that point. I really think if you're a new player watching, watch how the players use the head glitches, use the angles. You're never fighting out in the open. If you stand out in the open and you're ADSing, you have to realize that there are so many other players that are looking at you. They're going to try to take you down, and they'll take you down really fast.
I love those key points. It reminds me that some key players got us to where we are today, certainly to Maestro's point in our leaderboards, which means it's time for our Monster MVP segment. And the hot takes, let's start them off right now. Tom, I know you've got some players in your sights here. Who would you have as your players to watch that have really popped off in today's 6 match?
Well, I was starting with Taskmaster because of the fact that that was the kill leader overall, and just watching Loba play is really awesome. But you got to give it to Rugby, really, because of the fact that they end up winning that one. And not only that, being able to pop off with the Valkyrie redeploys, but it's just so great to go and watch how all these different players played. It was really exciting. It was hard to pick just one player.
Yeah, near impossible. Vicky Kitty.
Oh man, when I take a look at some of these squads that we had witnessed from Dungeon Masters and some of these clutches from Lumi, I mean, Lumi, of course, clutching everything out was the reason why Dungeon Masters was able to take game number 3. But of course, I want to give the equal credit over to Plush, who secured that win with 10 kills. That allowed Dungeon Masters to put themselves up on the leaderboards. And you can see right here exactly why Lumi, in many times under pressure, has been able to really clutch out things for Dungeon Masters. And I like the way that the synergy really shows for this squad. You can see the comfortability, just being able to have the communications and stay grounded in these last hit situations is what's really key, because we highlight positioning and you can currently see it right here why that high ground is so important.
That armor swap wins the game. Also that 70 right when they started to clamor up on the other side from Streamy, the switch on over towards the flat line. So difficult when you have to clamor up and that zone starts to close in on you. I know he was considering possibly going on over towards the bottom floor and just going for a heal off right there. I do like that he takes it to the fight though. Head to head, straight up right there. Unfortunately, Lumi was just too strong.
Well, speaking of strong, let's take a look at what the numbers say in terms of strength. I know, Tom, you alluded to this moments ago. We've got that kill leaderboard, and let's take a look. Tom, okay, I'll say this. Look at number 1, number 2, all the way down to number 6, pulling in double digits in a lobby that's already pretty gross.
And Vicky, you mentioned that it was 10 kills overall for Plush just in that one game. If that goes to show you how amazing that is, I don't know what else to say, because 12 was overall for all 6 games. So just to drop 10 overall is a phenomenal feat.
In that one game too, just absolutely insane. That was a game where that squad, Dungeon Masters, had finished game number 3 with 15 overall kills. And I believe that was the one game that I think that squad had gotten the most kills in comparison to any of the other squads that have won these previous games overall all day today in the EMEA region.
Love to see it.
I mean, it was what the cookie crumbles. Yes, exactly.
It is just so impressive again to just watch them do that, and also watch Task do this on Loba. It was unfortunate that the zone pulled away from all those teams. I was expecting it again to go over towards the no-name area, go over towards that beacon building, but you got to give credit to where it's credit due. I mean, he didn't show up first in the kill leaderboard, but the redeploys from Rugby really ended up winning it for me.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Thank you both for that analysis. This has been your Monster MVP segment. I'll tell you what, one of the things I love about that segment is it really gives us a chance to showcase and talk about and celebrate these players who have been coming in clutch in those in the small moments, the moments before the final chaos. You know, they make their mark certainly in the rotations, certainly in those little times before we really showcase them here on stream in the big head glitch moments. So at any rate, well done, both of you. Speaking of well done, I don't know what to tell everybody about our talent predictions, but let's take a look at who said what, because I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain nobody picked the winning team.
I'm pretty sure none of us did either. That's how fun and unpredictable EMEA region is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a toss of the hat, honestly. After witnessing the chaos of just the first weekend going down last week, I'm honestly just expecting so much chaos to come out of the EMEA region. And you can see right now, Gambit Esports with T-Squared and Stella were the ones that I guess, you know, placed closer to that higher part of the leaderboards right there.
Let's go, Stella. Let's go, Stella. Vicky, get out of here. You're wrong.
Why is this the second time? You know what's worse too? Tom can say that I'm wrong. That's the worst part.
Oh, it hurts like a knife. I've been there, Vicky. I've been there. But yes, well done, GG to both Stella and T-Squared. You guys have you chose the least worst, we'll say, of this group. Well done to you. But certainly a surprise, of course. You know, that's one of the best parts I will say about BR, about Apex specifically. One of the things, you can't sleep on any of these teams, and I feel like a broken record when we've said it. We said it in year one, we're saying it in year two, because it's never been more true, which is you can't sleep on anybody, because all of these teams have made it here for a reason. They've been invited because of points and because of performance. They've gotten there through the preseason qualifiers and grinding their way. I mean, at this point, well done, GG, for sure. Is there any final points here at the end of our EMEA games? Vicky, I'll start with you, and then Tom, over to you before we close out the day.
I feel like the name of the game when it comes to looking at a lot of these squads, bringing out different sort of compositions and trying to work with what they feel most comfortable is consistency. And I know I highlight that word a lot, but it's because you see a lot of squads like Dungeon Masters, like Maestro Gaming, be able to provide the same sort of results that we had seen within the first weekend. So I'm excited to see what a lot of these squads here in the EMEA region got to bring for tomorrow when we see the two different groups come out to play.
I'm going to use that word as well, consistency, because I hope everybody that's an Apex fan or a player is enjoying the consistency that we have in the Pro League format. Last week we had 2 days. This week we have 2 days. It's so exciting to go and watch, because anything could happen, just like you're saying, Kate. So now we get to see which team is going to be the most consistent when it's all said and done.
I love it. Speaking of anything can happen, guess what? We're not done for today. No, we are not. North America is right around the corner, so make sure to stick right here wherever you are watching us from, because we've got absolutely deadly lobbies coming up for North America in just a few minutes. And as Tom mentioned there, we've also got EMEA tomorrow morning. Take a look at the times there on your screen. That'll be our next EMEA broadcast. There it is. That is, go ahead and put that in your calendars now. Get up, enjoy yourself some coffee if you're on the west coast of the U.S., enjoy yourself some lunch if you're on the east coast, and everywhere in between. Just enjoy yourself, because we are here enjoying ourselves for sure. And another way to enjoy yourselves, follow us on all the socials, all of them. Just do it. It'll be great. You can see right here at Play Apex Esports on Twitter, at Play Apex Esports on YouTube. Hey, by the way, that's a 4K stream if you'd like. And at Play Apex on the Twitch channel, the at Play Apex Twitch channel. My goodness, I'm not sure what else to say other than thank you, GG. Fantastic gaming, fantastic play, out of control lobbies here today. And of course, we will see you in just a few moments for North America. But until then, have a good day.